right. Welcome to another episode of Spare Time. I'm Carlos. And as always, we're brought to you by Umpqua Survival. I remembered to say it at the beginning of the podcast this time, so I'm getting better. My guest today is actually he's my oldest friend, Vincent Warner. What's up, buddy?
How you doing?
What's up? And then, as is customary, I got my buddy Mike here today.
Hello, hello.
He almost forgot to say that. I just saw his eyes shift from side to side.
Got it.
He's like, I know I got something to say.
Is that your catchphrase?
Sure.
It is until his son was on the show, and then he tried to steal it from him.
He was a little fucker.
Yeah, it was funny. Oh, so Vince, what's up, man? Nobody knows you, maybe. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, Vince Warner. Grew up here. First met Carlos. We were, I think, 11 years old in junior high, and lived around here till I was, where did I go? 21, 22. Moved to Missouri. Came back when I was 35. Been here since. Run my own business. And haven't seen Carlos in quite a while. So
yeah, it's nice reconnecting.
It was years since. When was the last time I saw you?
I couldn't even tell you, man. It's just been a long time.
It's like 6 years ago, and I don't even know why. I live 6 blocks from your store. So. And then Brianna said that she run into you at the store and was like, yeah, something about getting her a taser and coming out to lunch with you. And it only took me 2 months to make my way in here, right?
Yeah, it works, man. Life happens. And what's up, Mike? What have you been up to?
Work.
Yeah?
It's Friday. Yeah.
Right on.
It's what we do.
Should I tell your whole audience about what nerds we were when we were 11 years old?
We'll probably get to it.
Do it.
I'm sure we will. So we actually, that's the first thing on my list, that we were the biggest nerds ever. Yeah.
For many years, true, till high school.
I know people wouldn't believe it by talking to me now. They think that I was always the most popular guy around.
Yeah.
Well, you were always in clubs. You were always fairly popular, even as a nerd.
I was a popular nerd.
Yeah, honestly, your personality attracted more than just the nerds. I remember all those youth groups you belonged to. Not that they were the best influence, because, your exposure to some risque music at the time happened around then.
Risque.
And books, etc.
Yeah, dude, I just remember freaking walking around with all my D&D books in a big ass duffel bag.
And then I started carrying one too because I thought you were cool.
Yeah, that's sad. Yeah, that and comic books, and we were obsessed with the WWF.
We did everything the same, except the difference is you could actually draw.
Yeah.
We had 5 art classes together. Like we had 1 or 2, like all our electives that we could pack into art classes.
Yeah.
We did.
Oh no, the sad thing is now all the shit that we did that was the most nerdiest shit ever, that's all popular now.
That's in.
Yeah.
Yeah. We would have been the coolest guys
Kids
around.
ever.
Yeah. We would have been getting all the girls.
Whoa.
Well, it's a big change to all the kids now are like a digital lifestyle.
Yeah.
Nobody goes outside and plays anymore, Nobody's buying their kids BB guns anymore, sending them out to murder the wildlife.
We tried to get into that right at the end of our nerd stage. You had your Commodore 64 and I had my Tandy 1000.
I remember that it was ColecoVision that you had?
In television.
Yeah. And your dad, when he got that game Starflight, and then we overwrote one of his discs and he got really pissed off and I think he had to buy another copy.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, those were the days, man.
But none of that was online though.
No.
Like I remember going to your house, or like my friend Keith Gunter, like I'd go to his house and go play on his computer. It wasn't online then. So even the exposure that we had then wasn't the same.
Yeah.
You still had to go to your friend's house.
I still remember there was I don't even remember what it was called, but it was like a word-based game. And basically it just told you what was happening, and then you typed in what you wanted to do. And if you didn't type like a clear enough explanation, it would say it didn't understand you.
I do not understand.
They still have those in a more advanced form.
Yeah.
There's one called Torn, Torn. It's a text-based game. Mm-hmm. It's been popular for like 20 some years. I've never tried it, but
yeah, I don't know. What about you, Mike? Were you into any of that stuff?
No, I was
Cool.
I was out in the wilderness.
You were in the wilderness, and you were into cars too, weren't you?
Yeah, high school time, yes. Motorcycles, cars.
Yeah. I was not.
What about when you were 10? Still woods and wilderness?
Yeah, probably somewhere screwing around with stupid horses or something.
Dude, I can't imagine your dad letting you be a nerd.
Yeah.
Your dad would be like, get the fuck out of the house.
Go, dude. Go chop some wood.
Dude, horses terrify me.
Yeah, I know. I don't like them either.
I
My boy is completely frightened. He's just terrified of horses.
What do we say? Oh, yeah, he's a horse pussy. That's right.
Horse pussy.
Dude, they're 2,000 pounds of unpredictable muscle. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been around Brianna's family, you know, they're into racehorses and stuff. When I stayed up in Montana in college there was this horse called Spicy, and it had a warning on the gate, like, if you're not an experienced...
I'm pretty sure the name was a warning. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it was a great racehorse, but very temperamental and stuff. And I don't know how many times Jeff, my father-in-law, he's dead now from cancer, but he got thrown off. He was a jockey. Jeff Jones, you could look him up. He had some fame. But he'd get smashed up, broke every bone in his body. He was like all deformed, and like he's always got a broken arm or something. He's just still riding horses. Like, oh, I love it, you know. But he was, I don't understand the passion.
I don't know either.
I was never really around him much. So.
I was forced into it, so
yeah.
That's a good way to get your kid out of something, was force him into it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God. Yeah, so I remember being freaking really nerdy. We used to hang out a lot. You're one of the only people I know that's house has burned down twice.
Oh shit.
And then you killed my alligator after it survived a house fire. Because you let him freeze to death. Do you remember that?
Hey, we bought stuff to try and keep that from happening. He just was not sturdy.
Well, no, it's because you didn't even look at the damn temperature gauges I put on the tank before I left on vacation.
Oh, he said put water in there? All right.
No, it was, okay, so this alligator, I went to a pet store, and I was looking for like a kitten or a puppy or something. And I didn't even...
in town, right?
No, this was in Missouri. It was in Springfield, Missouri. And Carlos had moved out there. He was out there for like a year, give or take. And I just remember I was going to look for pets. I wasn't even sure. I just wanted to go look at the pets, see what there was. They had a tank of this and that. They had some exotic stuff, you know, birds, parrots. They had some alligators. And I was like, you can buy an alligator?
Like, no shit.
I didn't even know you could buy one. And so it says, don't put your hands in the tank. So obviously I put my hand in the tank. And one of them, this little tiny one, jumped up and bit my finger and latched on. And it's cute when they're that tiny because they can't pierce your flesh. Yeah, I picked him up out of the tank and I'm like, I gotta have him.
Nice.
My sister thought I was crazy. I got a 50-gallon tank, kept him in there. Anyhow, fast forward in my apartment. It burnt down while I was at work. One of my neighbors was smoking and passed out. I was on the exterior wall, and it was Joe Zilla. Remember? He was on the exterior wall there in his tank, and he survived the fire by being in the water. I don't know how he didn't get boiled, but he was still alive. All my stuff was burnt down. My gator was still alive. Tank was melted. Fast forward like another year.
He was like, it's finally warm enough.
Yeah. So the gator's bigger. It's like a year later, and me and Carlos are living in this apartment, and I go back here to Oregon on like a 1-week vacation. I think I flew out. Yeah, I was coming to get my Mustang that my brother had screwed up. And so I was flying out here for a week, and I told him, you know, the only instruction I have is just keep my gator alive. I threw some goldfish in there. I'm like, you don't have to feed him. He'll eat them when he's hungry.
Oh, shit.
And I said, just watch the temperature. Make sure his rock stays plugged in and on so the tank's warm enough. And I came back a week later, and it's ice cold. The rock's broken. And Carlos is like, what? I didn't even notice hardly. I don't remember what you said, but it was like, what are you talking about?
I'm surprised he didn't put a little rubber
I've kept
alligator
this thing alive
in
for 2 years. It's probably good he died, though, because he was like a foot long at that time, and I had no plan for when he got to be 4 foot long.
You had to use freaking these like
welder's gloves. And then you had to use 2 sets, an oversized set.
His teeth were like needles, like hypodermic needles. They could go
poke
right
right
through
in.
those leather.
Well, it's like my puppy, him chewing on me when he's a puppy. Yeah, it's cute now, but he's getting older, so it's not so cute. A gator's just 10 times worse.
Yeah.
We had 1 pair of gloves, and
That's
then we had
awesome.
the double glove to touch him. And like I said, if he got any bigger, I didn't have a plan.
You guys could have taken a trip if you grew up and then went and let him go in the Everglades.
We were getting bored watching him because he would just fucking annihilate those freaking goldfish.
You remember the frog that sat on his head for an hour and a half?
So we're like, let's buy some shit that he can't catch, so he's got to actually work for it. So we went to the freaking pet store and we bought I was like, what's the fastest fish? And I bought this little shark. And I don't know, we spent...
And there was a frog.
At the time, it seemed like there was a bunch of money, but it probably was like $25 we spent on fish.
Well, that was a bunch of money at the time.
Fish and a frog, yeah. And then we threw all that stuff in the tank. And I swear to God, he went after the fastest things first. And they were gone so fast. That shark didn't even last that first night. I was so mad. I was like, well, I guess we'll just go back to goldfish.
Like, damn it.
And then the time we were trying to watch him eat over at Claude and Rhonda's, and we're all gathered around and we threw the fish and the frog in there, and he just sat there, and then the frog crawled up and sat on his head for like a half hour, and then we gave up and all walked away, and like 5 seconds later he ate the frog. Yeah. Nobody was watching.
He was being shy.
He was pretty cool though. It was something different.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd own another pet gator. It was cool to have one time, but like I said, if he gets 4 feet long, I don't even know what I was going to do with him. I had no idea. I was kind of stupid to buy him. Had no plan on what to actually do with it.
It was a Cayman,
I just bought it because
right?
I couldn't believe you could buy one.
You make some boots.
It was a Cayman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a Cayman.
Well, they're the most common kind, and they're like 4.5 feet tall, full grown. So they're the ones that people always get for the pets.
Make the nice belt or some boots.
Talking about when he got too big for the tank, we just let him go in the freaking drains outside.
Yeah,
like the movie.
That movie Alligator.
Yeah,
flush him down the toilet.
He would have froze his ass off there. Oh man, those were fun days though. I remember I moved to Missouri to get away from drugs and bad influences, and I immediately found drugs and bad influences there.
What was the name? Beavis. What was his actual? You remember him?
I don't know. I always just called him Beavis.
I haven't thought about him in a while either.
Yeah,
there was that other guy that you worked with at that circuit board factory.
Yeah, my buddy Wayne.
That was his name. Time,
yeah. That place was fun. I liked Missouri. It was cool. I missed the mountains. I never thought you could miss mountains, but that's why I eventually just was like, I got to go back. I can't. There's no mountains here.
Yeah, if you like scenery, it's not the place to be. We were in the third largest city in the state, so it was about 250,000 population, maybe 400,000 during the day because it's a hub for several counties.
There's 7 colleges there, so during the school year, it's freaking packed full.
There's always stuff to do and bars you can go to, and there's a lot more stuff for people of all ages to do because it's a bigger metro area. But there's lots of bigger metro areas that aren't in the middle of the plains, you know, so I too got tired of the scenery after a while.
I remember one time Wayne and me went on a little road trip for a weekend, and he was taking me to the mountains because I told him I was missing the mountains. So he took me to the Ozark Mountains.
Yeah.
And they're literally like driving over Stevens here.
They're foothills.
These are mountains.
Yeah. And there's nothing, and it's not green there. It's, all the trees are, what are they called?
Deciduous, yeah.
Yeah, so they change colors with the seasons.
And there's nothing, they're not...
Which is pretty. I mean, it's cool. It's got its own beauty, but like here, the ground's covered with ferns and moss and stuff. There, it's sand and rocks.
Yeah.
And so it was just different. I remember right after I moved there, you and I decided that we were going to go swimming because it was hot. And nobody had told us that you can't swim in the rivers there because they're flat and stagnant.
Oh.
And, we saw people fishing.
Yeah.
And they looked at us like we were insane when they saw us jumping in the water.
What the hell is that?
And sure enough, I got a double ear infection.
I'd almost forgotten about that.
Got a little parasite.
They're like, dude, you're swimming in cow shit.
You're going to get Giardia.
What's a little pink eye?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was bad. But yeah, that was fun. We had a good time over there. They have good fireworks.
Yeah.
They have the most amazing storms.
Part of that's tied to the trees. They're not saleable lumber. They don't care if you burn them down. Well, it's not that they don't care, but...
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Best.
not an
that was the
industry.
first place I learned about storm chasing.
Oh,
The freaking
On the
lightning
flat.
and thunderstorms.
how was
there
your
are
first
amazing.
tornado?
I didn't get to see one. Remember, we tried to go chase one down and couldn't get close enough to ever see
right. Yeah.
it. I just saw some really high winds. Plus, I remember when it rains there, It's not like here where it'll rain for a week straight. When it rains, you basically pull over and sit there playing on your. Well, now you'd play on your phone. Back then, we just listen to music.
Just wait it
In
out.
5 months of the year, the rain is a hailstorm.
It rains too hard for you to drive. You can't see where you're going, so you have to just pull over and wait for the storm to pass.
Well,
They get
damn.
flash flooding. Yeah.
I remember we one time we pulled into this little strip mall and hung out in Blockbuster Music. And it was literally flooding into the store, but they were
Shit.
letting us all just hang out and listen to music.
Nice.
Yeah, but that was weird. So every place has got, it's cool things,
Unique,
and it's
yeah.
stuff that's different.
Maybe we'll get around to you trying to grab Left Eye's tit.
Are we back?
Yeah.
All right.
Correct, yeah.
So I want to hear about this waterfall chasing incident.
Oh,
I had forgot all about that, dude.
don't go chasing Left Eye's tit.
Yeah, we bought Vince. Actually, you bought tickets so that we could go see TLC, right?
I don't remember who bought them, and I don't remember whose idea it was to go. It
I
just
wouldn't
sounded
admit it
like
either, but
Yeah, well, we got tickets to go watch TLC in Kansas City.
Which we just thought they were hot. We didn't
Of
even
course.
Like, I don't even know if we liked the music. We just thought they were hot, and it
of
was.
course.
I liked the music and I thought they were hot, but the whole plan was that I was going to storm the stage and grab Left Eye's tit.
Oh, fuck.
He knew we were going to get thrown out, possibly arrested,
Yeah.
but he didn't care. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it.
Yeah, that was my plan.
It's turned into a dare.
But it all went sideways when.
Oh yeah, we drove all the way to freaking Kansas City and the concert got canceled because they were sick or some shit. That was, I will tell you though, and I still tell people to this day, if you're ever, it doesn't matter where you're at, how big or small the city is, if you're driving around and there's railroad tracks, you're in the wrong neighborhood.
Well, do you remember how that?
Yeah. We got there and it was early. So I was like, let's go find a mall or something so we can just hang out till time to go to this concert. And we're driving, and I mean, we're driving and we're crossing railroad tracks for like 20 minutes, dude. I mean, we must have been in like Rail Central because we're crossing all these railroad tracks, and I was like, I don't know where the hell we're at. And so I pull into this convenience store, and it's, mind you, it's 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, and there's some like homeless looking people hanging out on the roads. But I pull in this convenience store and I walk in.
Your first clue should have been the bars on the windows.
Yeah, everything.
Literal
had bars.
steel bars and bulletproof glass,
Yeah.
like on 360 in the building.
So I pull in this little convenience store gas station, and I walk in, and there's a black dude holding a shotgun, standing
fuck
behind
you want?
bulletproof glass.
Yeah.
There was a white boy and a Mexican in the wrong neighborhood.
Yeah, and I walk
Something's
up,
up.
I was like,
Something's up.
and I was thrown off immediately. I walk in, and I'm like, I just need some directions. I'm trying to find a like the mall or something so I can kill some time before a concert. And he's like, boy, you're going in the wrong direction.
Turn the fuck around.
It's like you just get on that road and keep going.
Yeah. He's like, you guys need to go back out here and turn and go down here. And he goes, you're going to go like 15, 20 blocks. And I wouldn't stop at any red lights. or
Just
stop
drive.
signs. He goes, and then you'll get on the whatever highway, whatever freeway it was. And he's like, and then you'll start seeing some signs after a
I
little
was
bit.
outside pumping gas. I didn't know any of this was going on.
Yeah,
He's
and I
doing
come
this
out,
inside.
and I was like, dude, we got to go.
Get in.
I was like, what? He's like, we're in the wrong neighborhood. And I was like,
Just
what?
throw the money on the
He's
ground.
like,
Let's go.
get in, let's go.
Yeah, that was the most bizarre thing that ever happened to me anywhere. Oh, because
That's
you
funny
know you're
shit.
in a bad neighborhood when the guy's holding a shotgun behind bulletproof glass.
Yeah.
And all he's selling is cigarettes and
At-
Twinkies.
at 10 o'clock in the
that's-
morning.
This isn't a bank.
Yeah, it was funny as hell, dude. But we had a good time. But yeah, that concert got canceled, and then we were like, well, that was a big waste of freaking gas.
Never got Left Eye's tit.
No. And then she freaking died, or
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't she die? of
She
cancer
caught the
or
wrong waterfall.
she died or committed suicide. I don't know how she died. I don't even remember. That was so long ago,
AIDS.
like a million years ago. She probably did die of AIDS. They probably.
I can't even name the other two people in that group. I just remember her name because of you carrying on about grabbing her tit.
I had forgot all
Left
about
eye.
that.
That's the only reason I remember that one's name.
I totally tell people the story about the freaking convenience store, but I had completely forgotten about why we were there.
That's funny.
That is funny, dude. That's awesome. You remember that stuff?
Oh,
don't
I've
you?
probably got stories for days on your ass.
One of the other things I remember when we were there is we had to move last minute. We had to move out and get our own place, and his parents co-signed for the place, and my mom sent us a little bit of money so that we could afford to get into the place. And
that was
anyways, it was an old ass house that they had turned into like a upstairs was an apartment and downstairs
it was a
an apartment.
1 bedroom, but the living room became I think that was you were in the living room and I had the 1 bedroom.
Well, they
just had archways between them. They were all one room anyway. There was no doors.
Like no doors.
And the kitchen was a cubby hole smaller than his desk.
Yeah, that apartment had a door going up the stairs, a door to the bathroom, and the other side of the bathroom had a door going into the kitchen. Other than that, there was no doors. Everything else.
The bathroom was straight off the kitchen. It was you came up the stairway, and then there was the door to come inside.
Right. That was
and all it was.
2 doors.
It was a straight shot here with the bathroom right there with a door on it, and the kitchen there, no door, and an archway here into the living room, and an archway into the bedroom, which was all just one big room.
And we had
it was just a little square.
We took the screens out of the front window and had lawn chairs sitting on the roof of the porch. So you could sit out there like our porch. It was like our porch, but it was like slanted, so you had to be careful when you were drunk.
Yeah, but it was only like a weak pitch, like a 15-degree angle or something. It
wasn't bad.
It's crazy.
And we were 20 years old, so falling 8 feet.
But when we moved in, it took everything we could do to move into that place. So we didn't have any money for furniture or anything.
Of course not.
We had I don't even know what they're called, but it's like 4 cushions sewn together, and then you fold them up in their chair and you unfold them in their bed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was our furniture.
Oh, damn.
And an old wire spool that we had for like a little table.
No, there was a bed in there.
I don't remember. Anyways, but one day we had 1 car to share between the 2 of us, and I was driving Vince to work, and on our way to work, we saw all this furniture and stuff out in this front yard, and we're like, "Oh, dude, there's a sale!"
Dead guy sale! Oh my god, the dead guy sale! We filled our house for like $50.
We go, "What's going on?" And they're like, "Oh," and it was a frat. It was like a dorm house, and these kids were like, "One of our roommates committed suicide, so we're selling all his stuff before his parents get here to pick it up because he never paid us his rent." And so we're like, "Well, what do you want for it? How much you guys need?" And it was something cheap. I think we got
they gave it to you for like $50 for whatever you could stuff in your car, and you're like, "Watch me go."
Yeah. And so we got like a recliner that didn't recline and was missing the legs.
Threw it on the roof,
and we got a freaking coffee table that somebody had hand painted a freaking checkerboard on the top of it. And,
hell yeah,
dude! We got all this furniture
and the dishes,
glasses and dishes,
pots and pans, dishes, just odds and ends, silverware. None of it matched.
Yeah. Then we just called it our dead guy furniture.
Nice.
I forgot. Yeah, we had nothing in the apartment for like 2 or 3. I think it was just like 2 or 3 weeks. It wasn't too far in.
Yeah.
And then dead guy sale.
Yeah. And then our friend Rob, his girlfriend kicked him out. He was the biggest sports fan I ever met in my life. You go into his apartment and he had like 3 little black and white TVs playing different games. And had like 2 radios playing different games.
I forgot about Rob. I remember his girlfriend though.
Yeah, he had he had all these sports going.
Nice.
I remember his thing was eating ass. That's all he talked about.
He was from the deep south, and the thing about Rob,
Arkansas.
Yeah, but he had a drawl to him. And the one thing I remember about him was he was good with remembering music. He could hear like 2 little beats of a song and tell you what it was. Like he could be Music Man trivia.
Yeah, he was a good guy though. He was hilarious. But anyways, his girlfriend kicked him out.
Well, he got pissed off at me for blowing up his living room. Remember that? We had some fireworks there, and I guess, we were all drunk and lighting them off in the apartment complex and whatever, and my brilliant ass somehow ended up I might have fired off a couple of freaking what are those mortars in his living room.
This will be funny. Cool. Watch this.
You also got so drunk you fell off the 2nd story roof that night.
Yeah, probably.
The only reason you didn't get hurt was because you landed in those big ass bushes.
Sounds about right.
But yeah, he moved in with us, and it was funny because when he moved in, his grandparents gave him some stuff, and so he moved in with this it was like a dishwasher box, big huge box. Full of beta tapes, like VHS, but beta
Max,
and a Betamax freaking player.
Oh Jesus!
every one of those tapes was recorded, so it like had like 3 movies on each one. So we had all of a sudden it was like we lived in a movie theater. It was fucking amazing. But he had a bunch of porn.
Oh no.
And it was funny because like it seemed like there was always a porn tape in our beta player when we'd get home. There was always one on there, and then every time you'd pull it out, it'd be in a different spot, and everybody's like, who's been watching porn again? And all of us were like, it wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
but
Nobody
they were always in a different spot every time.
Fuck.
It was funny.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that.
Dude, those beta tapes.
I forgot about Rob until you mentioned him.
It was so.
I met him
was
at
something
Pizza Hut.
so simple, but it made things so much nicer to live there, having all those movies that we could watch anytime. Because we couldn't afford cable or anything like that, you know.
Well, and again, that's before the digital age. Now it's all Netflix.
Oh yeah, you can
whatnot.
stream everything, and
like Ricky Gervais at the Golden Globes. He's like, it should just be well done, Netflix. You win it all. Go home.
Most people don't even know what a Betamax tape is now. You could probably, if we had an original Betamax tape, we could probably sell it for freaking $200,000 on the internet.
First time I saw a Blu-ray,
I was
on a trip with my grandmother. We were taking her out to live with my Uncle Sam in Colorado. It was me and my dad in a car trip in Grandma's car. Drop her off, bring the car back. And we went out there, and we're out there for a day, and my uncle has money. I don't know if you know my Uncle Sam had money, but he does. And anyhow, and he had this nice, big, huge ranch house and stuff. It's very impressive. And he was showing off this new way of playing movies. It was like this better disc and stuff or whatever. It was a Blu-ray, but it was like when they were like prototypes. Like, I don't even think they were general public at that point. Like, it was like the first cell phones, like, that were $2,500 for this car model one.
Yeah.
And Heather had one of those in her car.
That's funny. Yeah.
It was, so that's the first time I saw that kind of stuff.
Your dad, you guys had one of those big original satellites, didn't you?
Yeah, the actual.
Because you said you had to go out there and hand.
Because he didn't want to buy the goddamn $100 fucking changers, so we were the changers.
Yeah. He's like, a little farther.
That's what was done when we were kids.
Yep.
Your dad did that kind of stuff to us.
Oh, yeah, dude. That's the only Spanish I knew was freaking change the channel. Get up and change the channel. Give me a cup of coffee.
Well, you remember when my dad would have those 2 woodsheds right next to each other?
Yeah.
And then, like, in the winter, we'd bring the firewood 6 foot closer to this shed, move it all over. And in the summer, we'd move it over here, 6 foot over there, because we'd use that shed for something else. It was just to give us something to do.
Yeah. Keep the kids busy.
Yeah.
But nowadays they don't even do that.
No.
Do you remember that fucking above ground pool?
The one that me and Lonnie rode the tide down
that was awesome.
Backyard on. We had
it was an above ground pool, and they lived up on a little hill. And
it was 3 levels. There was the top level, the top of the driveway, that big driveway.
Yeah.
And then it went down that big hill to that flat plateau, which we called the backyard. And then it went down another like 20 feet to the backyard.
If you would have done that now, you would have been in someone's backyard because the houses are down there now.
Yeah, they built
it's a whole subdivision down there.
Well, that's why Dad sold the place. Yeah. They built a neighborhood around him. And he had an offer to buy all that land around there for cheap when I was very little. And he was like, well, why? Because he even hunted deer out there. I remember one time we were just sitting out there working in the shop, and he saw a deer, and we got his gun, and he shot the deer and went out there and brought it back. And he's like, why do I want to buy this land? It's empty. Like, I don't use it for anything. I use it if I want. And then they built a neighborhood around him, and
you're like, oh, Dad,
he sold the house. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not only that,
damn it, Dad.
People got rich doing that. Whoever developed Loma Vista made some bank.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, they were fucking around and collapsed the side of that pool, and it freaking started a tidal wave. And they went freaking.
Me and my friend we were on this inflatable, Lonnie Lauder.
Yeah.
And we were horsing around, and we grabbed each other's shoulders. We're like shoving back and forth on it, trying to shove each other off of it. And then the seams had those rivets in them. And one of the seams broke out, we rode this tidal wave down to the next yard, down 2 sets of inclines, just like riding the rapids. and then you know, the water dispersed and we fell apart. We both got up because Dad had just bought that pool like a fucking week ago.
You're like, oh shit.
And so we looked at each other. We split. I went to Jennifer's house. I don't know where. Remember Jennifer Salmons? I went to her house. I don't know where Lonnie went. And because we didn't have cell phones then, so you know, my parents couldn't be like, "Where the hell are you?"
You're like, we weren't even there.
Yeah.
I don't even know what happened.
So it was like a day and a half before either one of us returned home because we knew my dad was going to be pissed, and he didn't even like want to kill us after that. He's just like, "Well, it was your pool. It's gone now."
Yeah, he never did.
Lesson learned.
I thought I was sure I was going to be skinned alive because he spent like $400 on that, and that was in fucking what, like 1990?
Yeah.
That was right after the new house got built after the first house fire.
Yeah, I think it was. It came
So
out
it
of
was
the
probably fire money anyway. He
Yeah.
didn't give a shit.
Now I don't have to pay maintenance on it.
Yeah, he only bought it to be nice.
That's the most money I've ever seen. $278,000 in cash.
Yeah. Yep. But it still sucked that
Well,
house
speaking of
burned
which,
down.
you mentioned both the house fires. So yeah, that was the first one. It was
Yeah.
Steve Weldon, and burns it down. Do you remember that?
He claims that wasn't.
You were no.
He
you-
still to this day says it wasn't his fault.
Well, and so after, and you know, I told that story to everybody at work in Missouri. And so then when I was in the store, I didn't have a driver's license, so I couldn't deliver pizzas at the time. And the store manager, Riyadh Maytar from Syria, nice guy. He owns Riyadh's restaurant now, opened a restaurant. Very nice guy. And there was a delivery that had to be done, and the drivers were all on long runs, and it was just me and him in the store. And I couldn't take it. I didn't even have a car, remember? And so he takes it. And then he comes back and he's like, "Vince, your apartment's burning down." And I was like, "Ha ha, that's funny," because they all knew about my story. And then he's like, "No, it took him like 5 minutes to convince me." He's like, "Vincent, your apartments are on fire right now."
That was the third fire.
No, that was just that was
You guys had the rental that burned down.
No, the rental didn't burn down.
Oh, okay. I thought it did.
Not
Actually,
all
they've
the way.
refitted it. It's right over there.
Yeah, I know where it's
They've
at,
refitted it. But he, after convincing me for 5 minutes, and then I was like, it realized on me that he was being honest. I threw off my apron and I ran like 10 blocks home and stared at my apartments on fire, just like he said. And I was
Son
yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that would. I'm glad I've never had to deal with that. I lost a couple little things in your first house fire, and I got 10 times worth what they were worth back from your parents.
Well, okay, yeah, and they paid out the value at the time. But do you remember that I had like an original 1980 toy, Millennium Falcon, and you remember all my Transformers and Star Wars? What did I keep with them? In my closet there. What was in my closet? All the boxes.
Oh yeah.
I kept all the original packaging and everything, and I'd buy 2 toys, one to play with and one to collect.
Yeah, you knew the stuff was going to be worth something
Okay, so
eventually.
they paid me out on it, but you know what? Why don't you Google what those toys are worth now? I'd rather have the toys than the money, you know?
Yep, hindsight.
Crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's how insurance works, though. I mean, they can't predict the future.
Well, they fought us on it, and State Farm said that it was like they almost accused Steve of arson on it. And recently, I asked Danny Lang. He does almost all insurance work, car wrecks and stuff. And I was like, well, hey, for like, what insurance company? I've never asked you, Danny. What insurance company would you recommend? And he went through the pros and cons of them all, and State Farm's one of the worst. Who I have for auto insurance now? And I'm like, I'm going to change it.
I'm changing now.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's who I have. They seem to do good for me, but
He said Progressive's one of the top ones. You can get a hold of their agents and stuff. Mutual of Unum locally would be another great one.
I forget all about them.
Local insurance is best. He said, you know who you never want to get? State Farm. You know why? He's like, you watch a Super Bowl, World Series? I said, yeah. He said, what's on all their banners? I was like, I don't know. What are you talking about? He's like, brought to you by State Farm. You notice that on all the big sporting events? They spend so much on advertising, they don't have any money to pay claims.
That's crazy.
And they probably fight everything.
Oh, they do. You know, like Walmart and Disney. Both of those companies will take everything to appeals. They will not settle.
I'm sure freaking all of that's the name of the game with
Brilliant.
insurance. Yeah.
No,
We'll
lots
just
of them will
stall
settle.
them. We'll stall them.
Oh, so what kind of you were in Missouri for a long time. You were there way longer after I left. I mean, shit, you spent a good chunk of your life over there.
15, 20 years. 3 baby mamas and 6 kids later. Sometimes.
Nice. You did, what kind of stuff were you? I know for a while you were managing a Domino's pizza over there.
Well, yeah, that's what I did for most of the time. I'd say like at 26, I was hired by Tony Davis, the guy that had the throat cancer and died, as a driver. And minimum wage was $5.75 an hour then. And I'd always kind of made minimum wage or maybe a little bit more at most jobs I'd ever had in my life, up to 25 years old. That job, I was clocking at $17 to $23 an hour on the regular. And I was like, wow, pizza delivery actually pays a lot of money. Who knew, And so then I did that, but then I got into management because it paid even more. No, not for Domino's, but for Marty Prather. This one specific franchise owner did things different. You wouldn't get this deal elsewhere, probably, maybe, I don't know. But he gave 25% of the store's profits. He had a business partner. So how it broke down was 37.5% for Art, 37.5% for Marty, and 25% split between manager and assistant manager. And so 25% of the take of $1 million store was way more than tips was going to get me.
Yeah.
So I did that for like the next 12 years.
Nice.
I've just now, like in the last year, now I have more experience as a paralegal than I did as a restaurant manager, but just by a year. Yeah. And that's really all I've ever done my whole life was manage restaurants or be in the legal industry.
Sure.
Nice. And so you've got Warner Legal Service now. What exactly do you do?
Process serving and freelance paralegal, which, like I said, I don't really work for the public because I can't give legal advice. I can help you fill out forms and I can describe terms for you. But serving papers, that's where the money's at, honestly.
Nice. And you enjoy it?
Most times, except for I went to serve an order. The judge messed up one time and issued an order that said that this guy got custody of the kids. And later on, the judge admitted, oh, no, I messed up. The girl was supposed to get custody. What? No, shit.
After you traumatized.
I guess there's not much accountability on judges because what was decided was they had to be served the order. So I was showing up on his property to serve an order where that he has to surrender his kids.
That's pretty no good, huh?
Yeah. Well, long story short, the guy ends up getting offended. He picked up a piece of, it's one of those T-post.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Like a 6 or 8 foot T-post. And he freaking swung it at my head. Turned around, swung it at me. I ducked under that. He hit his own truck, put a big hole in his door. And that's the only time that I've ever drawn my firearm on a job. So as soon as I pulled back up, I drew, leveled on him, and I didn't even say anything. He immediately drops the piece of iron.
Yeah.
But then he wants to still chase me around like he wants to get a hold of me. And I'm like, well, okay, so I'm looking at this 2 ways. I'm going to win this fight if it comes to it, obviously. But I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't need to spend all the next freaking 6 months explaining this.
Yeah, exactly.
So we played Ring Around the Rosie around his freaking truck for a while. So yes, it does I enjoy it. I enjoy the times like earlier today when I walked across the street, grabbed something, walked to jail and handed it to him and made a couple $100.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I enjoy that. But when people swing sticks at me or pull guns.
Yeah, that's no good.
I mean, I don't enjoy that. So what it is that I charge a certain amount of money for doing stuff because I'm willing to walk into a situation that might be all fucked up. I don't know. If it's easy, good. It's easy money, but it doesn't matter. I'm getting the money. So I'm walking in there one way or another.
Yeah.
And you always keep your guard up. So, but delivering pizzas, I was robbed twice. So
Shit.
When I worked in the restaurant one time, that guy came in, Papa John's there across from Claude's house.
I guess everything has its dangers.
Pointed a gun at everybody to give me the money and stuff. And girl up there freaked out. I was like, whatever. And then I got robbed once on delivery. Guy said he had a gun. I never saw it. I had like $35 in my pocket. I'm like, take it.
Get out of here.
Yeah, take it.
I accidentally robbed a pizza delivery guy once.
Accidentally.
How's that happen?
Accidentally.
So me and my buddy Dave, we were cruising around. This is back when you used to cruise Harvard and stuff, you know. And
when kids actually used to get out instead of FaceTime it.
Yeah, we were just fucking around, and we were out cruising Harvard, and we saw a pizza delivery guy, and we're like, let's follow him and freak him out. But so we followed him, and we were just fucking around. We didn't have any. We literally were just trying to fuck with the guy, and we're following him, and he goes through this neighborhood, and he does a delivery.
Are you and Dave? I wasn't there.
No, you weren't there. No. So we're following him. And he goes and he does a delivery, and then we keep following him, and he goes to do another delivery, and we're going through like neighborhoods and shit. So he obviously knows we're following him. And he's like driving slow, and then he'll speed up, and like he's trying to lose us.
Trying
and we're
to
just,
shake you.
And by then we're just like, oh, this is hilarious, right? So we're just following him. When he pulls into this house, and we pull in behind him, and he just like flings his door open and runs. He like runs at us. I was like, oh, what the fuck? He comes running at us, throws these 2 pizzas in the window of the car, and he's like, here, just take them. That's all I've got. And we're like, what the fuck? And then he runs and jumps back in his car and takes off.
Oh,
And,
no.
and we were laughing so fucking hard. I was like,
remember
dude, we
you
just
telling me
accidentally
that.
robbed that guy.
We got pizza.
I remember the story. I don't. Was
Yeah.
that Dave with you?
It was Dave. Yeah, it was funny
Yeah.
as hell, dude. Yeah, it was. But yeah, so we accidentally robbed the guy.
Accidentally,
Yeah.
without even saying anything.
All we were doing was fucking with him, and then it was funny.
Got this shady Mexican guy following
He probably
me.
quit his job and fucking never did that shit again. We probably traumatized him for life. He needs therapy now.
Geez.
I know a pizza driver that did quit his job after getting robbed. He was pulled inside a house, a gun put to his head, and they're like, "We're gonna kill you, blah blah blah. Give us your money." And I'm thinking on 2 levels, I'm like, okay, that's terrible. On the other level, I'm like, these are some stupid crooks. You like went to all that for them. You didn't have to do that for the money.
For like maybe 30
And
bucks.
they didn't know. No, this guy was like the
Shit.
biggest pussy you'd ever met, and he's a very religious guy and very nice, but he's very docile, not a threat, you know. And it's like
Just said,
this
"Give me
guy,
the
you
money."
could have just said, "Give me the money, or I'm going to beat your ass," and he'd have handed it to you. You even need a weapon. But they pulled him in, and like after that, he quit. He was the same as me. He was used to making small wage, and then he's like, "This pays good money." He did it. He was there for like a week. It was his first week on the job.
Jeez, that makes it
And then he
even worse.
quit, and it's like, oh man, unfortunate. No, that kind of stuff doesn't actually usually happen like that. That's very rare. But also, you got to think about the environment. I mean, it probably is worse in, say, St. Louis or Kansas City.
Oh, I'm sure.
Springfield had enough crime, but the bigger the metro area, the more crime.
That's normal.
You know,
Anywhere.
Yeah, for sure. Dude, I can't. And then you're in a metro area, you're climbing stairs, and yeah, screw that. Yeah, I delivered pizzas a little bit here in Roseburg, and that was
I don't like big cities. I've lived in them for a little bit, you know, and I came back to Roseburg. Well, partly because it's where I'm from, but I prefer. I've had a taste of both. I prefer more of a small town feel.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, although, see, I left Roseburg initially because there was no economic opportunity for me.
That's
And
for sure.
I would come and go a couple times. And it was always because, you know, in Springfield, Missouri, you can get a job. It's not hard. You can get a job anywhere. And even a semi-good one, the opportunities are everywhere. But, you know, right now I'm fortunate because, well, same as you, I own a business here that's making it.
Yeah.
You know, we're living. So I wouldn't want to leave that. I couldn't leave. I could not build what I have here someplace else. I couldn't just transfer it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, your job's been your business is
well, it's all word of mouth.
yeah, it's all word of mouth, and you've become, you know, you've gotten close with all the attorneys and that stuff.
When I first, so I was a paralegal, and then in 2016, I tried to stop doing that and just do process serving. I didn't have enough business. I had to go back to work for Dan and do that. And then after, like, say, when the pandemic hit, really, that's kind of when things picked up for me. But I had to impress people and get them to use my service. It's a hard business to break into. It's very tough to get an office to use you exclusively for all their needs.
Yeah.
But conversely, once I have their business, it would be impossible for you to come in and take it away from me as a startup. It's not going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
And so I couldn't build this anywhere else. So I moved around, and I don't know if it's whether I'm just set in life now or, you know, because I've built something good, but you know, like you're the same way here, you know, with everything you've built, you can't move. Where would you go? What would you do? You know?
I'm not interested in going anywhere anyways.
I know. And that's why you came back here, and you know, the scenery took me a while to, you know, feel the same way.
Well, I'm a small town guy. I don't like people. I don't like big crowds of people. I don't like all that stuff.
Unless you're trying to charge Left Eye's tit.
Yeah,
And then
that was a different guy. That was a different guy. I was fired up back then. I don't have that much energy anymore.
Left Eye ruined it for you when she didn't show up.
Oh yeah. So, a little more about your life. You've got a couple kids with autism, so you deal with some stuff that a lot of people don't have to deal with.
Very true.
Yeah.
So Alexander Ronan Warner, he is going to turn 16 on October 1st, and he's low functioning autism.
Yeah.
Dimitri is 13 now and has never said a word in his life. The most frustrating thing, Alex is the one that gets, he's very outspoken. He can get in rages and stuff. Dimitri's usually a very calm individual, but he likes to shred papers, and they get all over the house, the yard, everything. I'll tell you this, though. Have an autistic kid says, well, but you know, it goes way back. See, because I have a high tolerance for disability. Remember my cousin Kathy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, so I have some experience at disabled family members before, you know, I had them. And I don't know if you know, but my oldest biological child we had an abortion because it was recommended medically. Did I ever tell you about Samantha?
I think so.
Well, you know my son Sam.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Samantha was his older sister, and the birth defects were hydrocephalus. It's water on the brain.
Yeah.
Down syndrome, and they could not detect. There's vessels that go from the heart to the lungs for blood transfer. They couldn't even detect them on ultrasound. So if she was born, it would be immediate heart surgery, blah, blah, blah. And
Gotcha.
if she survived all that, permanent retardation with Down syndrome, etc. And so we elected for an abortion. That was me and Heather.
Yeah.
And I've had some mixed feelings about that since. And honestly, after having Alex and Dimitri, other disabled children, I've kind of had some regrets. Like, I don't know how it came down to what I believed at the time, a quality of life for Samantha. Like, she wouldn't have any. So why even do this? Whatever. My feelings are a little bit different now.
Well, I'm sure you probably have a little bit of guilt over it. You're like, well,
of course.
I can take care of these kids fine. Why couldn't I have taken care of that?
Well, and it's not even that I can take care of them fine.
Yeah.
It's a struggle every day. You know, a lot of people, even my brother, you know, Steve.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know how you do it. Well, I do it because I wasn't given a choice.
You don't have a choice, right?
I wasn't given a choice.
Mike's got a nephew that's got autism. So
yeah. What's the range of? Is he verbal or like nonverbal?
Yeah.
How old?
I believe he's 14.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. We should exchange some numbers. Maybe talk off the record later.
Yeah.
I could probably give and take some advice. But yeah, you know, having disabled kids is it's part of what's slowed me down a little bit too. Like let's think about me trying to be a lawyer. You know, I was in school I was getting my my bachelor's degree up in Montana, finishing that out, and 3.97 GPA, etc. I would have got accepted to several law schools. Several reasons why that didn't pan out.
yeah.
So I settled for being a paralegal. And then sometimes dreams lead to other things. I settled for being a paralegal, but then I discovered process serving and did all that. And now looking back, when I look at Dan's job and I'm like, you know where Dan's going to be on Tuesday at 10 a.m.? Wherever me and Brandy freaking tell him he's going to be.
Yeah.
You're very tethered as an attorney. he's got a drawer full of medicine because he can't be sick.
Yeah, and your business kind of allows you to live the lifestyle you need to take care of your family.
Yeah, there's way more freedom. I don't think I'd like being an attorney. It would be more money, but you're tethered to something.
Yeah,
definitely.
And so everything in my life has led to, I'm kind of not blessed for having, the disabilities at home that I have to account for, but I'm blessed in having a job that will allow me to work around it and not be dependent. Like, I eat steak every night and I'm not on food stamps, and we have one part-time income. But it does pretty good. So, I have been very blessed there, and not necessarily, where you want to end up. I've talked to my son about this. He wanted to be a rock star, and I'm like, when he's 15, and he's really good at playing guitar and stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, just remember I want a red Ferrari if you ever make it. Okay. Remember I want a red Ferrari. But also don't forget, if you never make it as a rock star, you got a factory job right now paying really good money for a kid your age,
Yeah.
And so I didn't do everything I wanted to do, but I'm doing okay. I landed someplace in a related field that does all right. And those are just the accommodations you have to make for disabilities and stuff. Your entire life gets changed.
Yeah.
It affects every aspect of your life even for today's podcast. Mm-hmm. If my kids would have been going crazy, or let's say one of them injured themselves and had to be cared for, which is, I'd have to go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
My wife's at home right now, single-handedly dealing with him. And so when I'm done here and I go home, she's going shopping, and she's going to take 3 or 4 hours about it. And I'm going to deal with
your turn.
My turn.
Unquote shopping.
Yeah.
She was sitting in a park reading a book somewhere.
It could be. I don't know.
But you got to give her time too. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, and
sense.
the only time that I get away from the kids is when I'm working, and the only time she gets away is when she's shopping. Other than that, we're pretty much there the entire time.
Yeah,
and both of them are pretty much a job. That is her job, dealing with the kids.
Right. Yeah. That's I can't imagine. I'm sure it's a lot. So that's pretty admirable. No.
Well, like Dimitri, I couldn't. I could bring Alex in to say hi. I couldn't bring Dimitri in. His stimming method is shredding paper.
Yeah.
He will grab.
He just grabs anything close.
Well, that's why I need a space to be, is because he will literally just run up, grab it, and shred it. One time, when we first moved back here, and we were staying in a fifth wheel at River Forks Park. Alex was 3 years old, Dimitri was like 3, Alex was like 5, and I just got paid. And of course, I didn't have a bank account, so I cashed my check, and it was like $600 in cash for the week. And I brought it home, and I always put it and my keys and everything else in this little drawer, just a drawer. Well, he got into there, and I woke up to him shredding my entire paycheck of cash all over the freaking floor.
Yeah.
And it took us about 5 hours to gather up the pieces and tape it back together. This is all the money I had, though. I didn't have a choice.
Oh, I'm surprised the bank was willing to take it.
Well, they were, yeah.
Yeah.
We exchanged it in for other money, and I'm like, I don't know, do what you do with stuff like this.
Which is probably shred it.
I don't know. I think they turned it into the government.
They
and
send it
issue
back,
new notes or something.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's freaking nuts. So, what kind of, I'm sure you've got some pretty, that's one story. I'm sure you got some other stories. Good and bad, I'm sure.
Well, the good stories, like Dimitri, he's a very happy kid. He's like a puppy almost. He's always happy to see you, laughy, giggly. Most of the time wants to hug, lay down, take naps, whatever. So, and being 13 years old, that's a kind of emotion reaction you would not get from most 13-year-old kids.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Sam, when he was 13,
they
he was
start
like,
hating you at 13.
He's like, I'm going to go play my guitar. I'll be at the neighbor's house. And I'm like, give me a hug. And he's like, fuck off. Or, maybe.
Not today.
Here, whatever. Sure. I got to go, Dad. Whatever. So there are some good aspects to it, but you're right. It's a balance. There's some better aspects, but then you get the daily meltdowns. Alex is 6'1" now. I'm 5'10".
Yeah.
So, sometimes when he gets a little out there, even I'm like on guard, I can't just tell him to sit down, and I can't just hold him with one hand.
You're lucky his autistic focus isn't like jujitsu.
Jesus.
No, fortunately, when he wants to take a swing at you, he winds it up good and long, and you see it coming, so. But I've had to physically restrain both of them a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard stories from other folks that have kids with disabilities that have had to deal with.
Well, there's a big controversy about seclusion and restraint in like the schools. For instance, here there's only one school that deals with children of diminished capacity. Is that Fir Grove? It's right there on Harvard.
Fir Grove.
Yeah, Fir Grove. And I took him in there. We had him in school for a little bit in there, and it didn't work out so well. And one of my other problems with it, and this is where Brianna's fear about people being around the kids comes from, is that while I was there, I was a parent. I stayed with him on site for his 2 hours there at school for his comfortability level because he was being introduced. There was a child that they were all outside on recess. And there was one child still inside. I don't know what his disability was, but obviously he had one. And frankly, he was straight up a window licker. Like he was making signs and stuff like this. But one of the teachers outside, like, knocked on the glass. I don't remember what she said, but it was really harsh. It wasn't like cussing, but I thought it was really like harsh. And I'm like, I thought you people were like understanding and caring and dealing with this. Yeah. And you're just like, shut the hell up. And it's like, okay, maybe I need to rethink leaving my kid here without me.
Yeah.
There's not many facilities and resources. And to be honest, let's say most school teachers, I don't think there's a lot of school teachers that go into school and are like, yeah, I want to teach disabled people. Yeah. And if they do, I don't think they know what it involves.
Unless they've already dealt with it in their families. Yeah.
Well, and like I said, maybe I've got a greater patience because, and although it wasn't a mental disability, it was just physical disabilities. But like I said, remember my cousin Kathy?
Yeah.
I learned a lot of patience and understanding for people that can't do things on their own.
Dude, I miss Dan and Kathy. They were the best, dude.
Yeah.
We had good times out there.
Yeah, she died like 10, 15 years ago. It's been a while.
I still
now.
talk to Najla every once in a while. So.
Yeah, she's was doing real estate.
Yeah, she's still doing real estate. She's doing really well.
Yeah, I miss Kathy. Well, she had despite having partial use of one hand and in a wheelchair, she had a master's degree in psychology.
Yes.
I miss talking to her because if you needed to sort some stuff out, and it was priceless when you'd be I'd drone on about my problems and she'd look at me and be like, that is so sad. It's so terrible. And then you look at this woman and you realize she can barely move one hand. She can't wipe her own ass. She can barely eat. And
we're doing is whining.
And she is here actually giving you comfort for your whining, like legitimate comfort. Not,
crazy,
she'll talk you through it. She was a counselor for several years. Yeah. Well, it's all she could do was use her brain. She couldn't use her body. And I really miss her because there's a lot of, I talked to, like a lot of people would go to their parents for that kind of advice. I went to Kathy, and so I really do miss her.
Problem was we were always high when we were talking to her.
Well, it's because she was smoking us up.
But she was an awesome lady. I remember that. That was awesome. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna pause it for 1 second.
All
right, we're back. Oh man,
where were we?
I don't know, but we all needed refills.
Yeah, so. We got her topped off now.
Refill of ice anyway.
Yeah.
What are you having?
Gin and tonic.
Gin and tonic with olives.
Which I'm pretty sure is just a martini. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In a tall glass.
Yeah. It makes a difference in the glass, apparently.
That's what the bartender told me.
I'm not sure I've ever had a martini. Can I take a swig of it?
It's acquired taste if you like pine needles.
If I like what?
Pine needles?
Yeah.
He's right. He's fucking right. And it's an acquired taste, and I have not acquired it. I'll stick with this.
I love it.
Oh.
You're like...
That's like brushing your teeth with mint
super dry.
And then eating, God, I don't know what, dog shit.
Gin is one of the things you can drink, and it will instantly make you thirstier.
Yeah.
That's true.
Rum it is, right?
Oh, I love a good rum and coke. That's my go-to, but
sure.
What was that thing? A classic? What was that thing you were having?
An old-fashioned?
Old-fashions, yeah.
I don't even know what it is, but the other day we were downtown, and he's like, give me that, and the lady's like, what do you want? And I'm like, I don't know. Just give me what he's having. Because I know Carlos is a connoisseur, but whatever he's drinking is probably freaking good.
Yeah.
So give me one of those.
They're badass.
I was surprised. They're very good, but I still didn't know what was in it. I ordered a couple of them. And
An old fashioned is just bourbon. Well, typically bourbon or rye whiskey with a little bit of bitters, a couple splashes of bitters, and a little splash of simple syrup.
so it's basically 90% liquor.
More than 90%.
That's probably why I liked it so much. But it's a good tasting liquor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, they just take bourbon or rye whiskey and add a little sweetness to it. So
Add some sugar.
Oh, and some lemon for the tart, I guess.
no, it's normally
It's,
it's normally garnished with orange,
Orange
Was
citrus.
that orange?
an orange zest
Oh.
and an orange peel. Yeah.
I thought it was a lemon. No, you're right.
And then
Orange.
most places will throw a cherry in there too, but yeah.
Well,
Carl,
it's
you gotta
better.
be
It's
careful,
better
though.
than Everclear and Pepsi 50 mix.
Yeah, you got to be careful though. When you order an old fashioned, you got to ask them how they make it because
Everybody does it different.
everybody seems to have their take on an old fashioned,
Yeah.
and really,
Well, that's what you were saying
for
there.
the most part, an old fashioned, if you follow the recipe, it's good.
You can't mess it
If
up.
you change it, it's hit and miss.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. Well, what's the best? Have you ever had one that was changed that was?
Oh yeah, I've had some takes on them that are.
Well, then why don't you request that? Say, hey. do it this
Because
way.
I don't want to.
You're just like,
I don't like people's interpretations.
you don't trust them to follow the
I'll
instructions.
interpret things my own way.
Right.
If I want to try something different, I'll try it myself at home. But and it takes some work to ruin a glass of whiskey, and I've had a lot of ruined glasses of whiskey. So
Yeah.
if I order a good whiskey, I want to be able to drink it. So
All it takes to ruin a glass of whiskey is 10 glasses of whiskey before it.
Or
I don't know about
an
that.
empty glass. That's
Yeah.
ruined.
Or an empty glass.
It's ruined. I need a new one.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. I pretty much just drink straight whiskey with an ice cube. But if I'm trying to not drink too much, then I'll have a cocktail.
You know,
Just sippers.
you talk to your guests a lot about them. What if your guest introduce you for a minute?
Well, dude, I tell enough stories that people get to know me.
Right.
That what's her name did that to you?
Well, I've
Oh yeah,
missed,
she tried to turn it on me, dude.
Yeah.
Freaking Savannah.
That was awesome.
I mean, I've missed like the last 6 years with you. I mean, what's so you bought this place last year?
Yeah, it's been. I think today might be actually exactly 1 year, but
Yeah.
Happy anniversary.
woo.
Ding ding
Nice.
ding ding.
Well, but last time you left Lowe's and you came here.
Well,
I
actually,
mean, I've missed as much as your history as you have on mine.
when I left Lowe's, I actually didn't work for about 6 months.
Well, you had
Yeah.
unemployment. I'm sure you were there for years. Right.
I took a year off, or took about 6 months off, and I cashed out my 401k. And
Do you still view that as a good decision, or should you have kept it? Or my retirement plan is to independently work until I die.
yeah, that's my
Do you
retirement
have
plan.
one?
That's
No, that's my
everybody's.
retirement plan.
That's
I'm just gonna work till I die. That's my retirement.
that's the
Yeah.
one that works.
plan.
Yes.
No, I don't regret anything. I have very few regrets in my life. I regret not spending more time with my mom before she died.
Yeah.
I regret.
And you know, part of that is why I always, my dad, before he died, I took him with me on serves, did all kinds of things. I spent almost every day with him. And I declared to my brother, my mom, everybody, it's like, well, because I know my dad's going to die someday. I'm not stupid. And when he does, I don't want to be saying, oh, I wish I
would have.
I wish I would.
Yeah.
I don't feel that way. I don't have to say that.
You
because
get
I
caught
spend
up
every
in
day.
the.
Mhm.
So that's important.
But yeah, I mean, the only regrets I have in my life are not spending time with people that I was close to. Other than that, I don't really have any regrets.
But see, things turned out for you. See, I wanted to be a lawyer and I didn't, so I became a paralegal. And then I became a process server from that. You know, like if you'd have been at Lowe's, if that relationship would have continued, you know, you'd have stayed there, whatever. Now, answer me this. You would have been promoted to maybe regional manager.
Oh no, I
And
wanted.
so-
I was actually.
You were trying to go to Alaska.
I was actually.
You're trying to go to
I was
Alaska.
actually in line for a store.
But that didn't work out. And
Yeah.
you ended up in this,
Yeah.
and you're happier now.
Absolutely.
Same as me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No,
sometimes what you think you want isn't what you want.
No, you got to roll with the punches. Life throws you some shit, and you got to.
Yes, it does.
Go with it.
That's the only choice you got.
Yeah. Shit happens. I mean,
life
things
throws
happen
lemons
for a
to make
reason.
lemonade.
Yeah.
It just, you got to be willing to take it all in and look at things.
Like, I wouldn't trade where I'm at in life. There's no other path. Even if I would have went through college and law school, passed the bar, been an attorney, right now, I couldn't be an attorney. My kids demand too much attention at home.
Right?
Well, but the converse of that is like Dan McKinney. His oldest daughter, her name is Jennifer. He wouldn't mind me saying this, I'm sure. I've talked to him about it. She was just fine till about 4 years old. She got some kind of infection, infected her brain. She's basically a vegetable. And early on, his wife, Tina, wanted to, keep her at home. But he had resources. I talked to him about this, like, how do I deal with my kids? And he told me what he did. He built an extra wing onto his house and hired an extra nurse to live there with him. And I'm like, okay, do you have any suggestions for people that make my money, boss?
Not yours.
But it's, I forgot where I was going with all that, but yeah, there's, I don't know. I couldn't be an attorney. He was already an established attorney when he had that problem. So he had money to throw at it. Unless I had a ton of money, I couldn't go down that path unless I had it already, because my time is more, to be honest, I consider myself basically retired.
Yeah.
I work 10, 15 hours a week. And to me, it's not about, if I just wanted money, I'd work. Don't wait till you're 70 to try and have a retirement and retire.
Sure.
Do what you want to do now and find a way to do it so that you never have regrets in life about, I've got a lot of spare time now. I don't see, I hate the mentality of work till you're 65, 70, and then take a check that's going to be diminished by inflation. I don't think they should get rid of Social Security because a lot of people depend on it.
Totally seems insane.
But when you
the big
figure up the
picture
schedule of your Social Security earnings, like both of us being business owners, I'm not sure what that is, how much of it was corporate profit and how much of it was your profit.
Right.
That's for your tax guy to decide. But I can tell you this, I don't think there's going to be, by the time we get 70 years old, another 20 years, I'm not even sure it's going to be Social Security.
I don't think there will.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't even concern myself with it, honestly. I do what I need to do to get
because you're
today
doing
or next week or whatever.
I know, and that's because you're doing good now, and I do the same thing. But not concerning yourself with the future that means your plan is to work forever.
Oh yeah. Well,
that is his plan.
I joke about it, but that is my plan. I don't. Someday, hopefully, my kids will make enough money they can take care of me a little.
Well, it's not always about income. You want to know something? Out of all the
that's why I had so many.
I know a lot of attorneys in town, and the richest ones, their money didn't come from being an attorney.
Oh no,
their seed came from it.
Yeah.
They have investments. Most of them have rental properties.
Yeah, real estate, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I don't want to name names, but
I'm hoping.
I know one guy that has 100
working on that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got 100 rental properties. Last time we looked, and he's but none of that. It didn't. All their wealth didn't come from. It came from investments.
Yeah.
And I'd like to do the same thing. I think even start small, like the house I got now.
Yeah. What's funny is when we were young, I used to think that you had to start super young to make any of that stuff happen.
Or be born into it.
I feel like I'm old now.
You are.
But I talk to other people that are the same age, and they're just now starting to do stuff like that. They're just now starting to get to where they can afford to do things. And I think it's just because when you're young, you think people are so old.
Yeah, that's not part of the thought process for a young person.
I think more than that, the days of the 1950s, single father working at a plant with a guaranteed pension and a decent wage.
Long gone.
Right. And that's what happened to it. It got replaced with uncertainty.
Feminism.
Yeah.
They ruined it all.
Well, no,
It
he's
was
got
all
a point on
feminism,
that. He's got a point on that I rarely bring up because I get
All
a
the
lot
women ruined it.
No, it's okay. So you opened Pandora's box.
No,
Here we go. Do you know why women didn't have the right to vote to start with?
Because they were at home raising the kids.
No, but why? No, I mean, why didn't they have the right to vote?
That was
Because the right to vote was directly tied to the right to make war.
copy.
And women didn't fight in wars.
No war. Yeah.
Okay, so and that's what started it. And do I think they should have the right to vote? Well, certainly, but at this.
It
But
should
at the
be
same
equal.
time, the cynical me is like, okay, you're registered for the draft, right, bitch?
Yeah, you want it
but-
equal. It's
So,
going to
like,
be equal.
I don't want to be down on. So this is where I get a lot of backlash because I've got
Yeah.
what people consider old-fashioned views on it, and it's not necessarily an old-fashioned view. It's more of a pick your destiny view.
Sure.
I mean, if a woman wants to be, I know this girl Becca, my friend Lloyd's wife back there, and she's like 6'6", 300. She's like an Amazon woman. I wouldn't want to fight her. She'd beat the hell out of me and body slam me. Okay, like so. If somebody like her is like, I'll go to war, I'd be like, I would serve with you.
I'll
you know?
be right behind you, right next to you.
But
Let's
that's-
do this.
But that's
Yeah.
the original, and then the feminist movement.
Sure.
They all wanted to have equal rights and a job and stuff, but what they didn't consider, the same as the last few years ago, we talked about this. Everybody taking the stimulus checks.
Yeah.
I told you they were giving an extra $800 a week to me, and I was still working, and I was like, well, this is bad for the world, but if you're giving it away, I'm going to take my share.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the movement was the same back then.
Yeah.
They didn't consider what it was going to do to their family structure.
The entire
or some didn't
ramifications.
care for
Yeah.
the other side, because now all it is the employers have double the labor pool, and so wages went down.
Yep. Definitely.
They collectively dropped, and that's not sexist, like, oh, women dropped the wages. That movement did, but it wasn't based in feminine or masculine.
No, but it's
it's just what happened. It was an unintended byproduct of a noble idea.
Yep.
And those happen so much in the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I think anything like that. I mean, you try and change things. There's always going to be parts of it that you didn't anticipate.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's the unforeseen that it's either good or bad.
Yeah.
You can't predict.
I don't know.
And then the smart people that do, they're ostracized or, oh, you're just crazy, And, well, you stand back and say, hey, I told you so.
I'm a typical guy, though. I mean, I'm old school until it doesn't work out for me.
Sure.
Well, I mean, my relationship
that's
status
100%
is
normal.
1950s. The woman stays at home and deals with the kids, and I go earn all the money.
Yeah,
but
but
that's
that's-
not because
Yeah,
of
that's not by choice.
that's other circumstances
Yeah.
force that. But by definition, then, and we get a little Social Security off them. I think $950 a month off each kid, $2,000. That doesn't cover what they use. Trust me, not in
Nothing.
today's economy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, like, I have an old school relationship, but it's not because it's just a forced situation.
And it's not something you're demanding.
Well,
either,
it's
But I
not
have to-
old school, because an old school situation would have been by your choosing.
Well, and I would have been.
And when you got home from work, instead of her going quote unquote shopping for 3 hours,
Yeah.
you would have been smacking her in the face and telling her to make you
I don't know
fucking
about that,
dinner.
but-
How come my dinner's not on the table?
Yeah.
Well, and to be honest, I could even still have that kind of old school relationship now. I make enough money to be a single earner,
yeah.
but she's not just at home, prepping meals and getting the kids
No.
ready.
Well, she's not going to stick around. That way
I've
either.
said before, I don't have to work.
Yeah.
I get to work.
Yeah.
I'm the lucky one.
That's-
At the law office that I punch hours at as a paralegal, the girls are always, and I always say girl, I'm the only male paralegal I know. It's like a male nurse. My dad was a male nurse. He knows that.
Yep.
But so they're always, this is stressful, blah, blah, blah. And it's the most stressful crap here at this job and this shit and that and clients bullshit and all this stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I don't give a damn. It's not my lawsuit. To be honest, this is where I come to be stress free.
my
What
release.
you guys consider
Yeah.
stress
Yeah, yeah.
isn't stress to me.
I
I'd rather be
I
at
can
home
show you
here
a few
than-
things.
Hell, I get money for being here. I go home, I just get abused.
Yeah.
No,
it makes you, everybody's lifestyle at home is different. And you gotta, unless you get to know somebody and talk to them a little bit, you don't ever know. I mean, I was the same way when I worked at Lowe's. I mean, I went to work to relax, not to freaking. I mean, I worked.
He'd go an hour early to read a book in the parking lot
Oh, I know.
before he went on to shift.
I mean, we had a daycare at home. I mean, it wasn't like there was too much going on at home for me to relax at home.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
I'd get home and have to fix all the shit that they broke during the day. You know?
No, I remember that. Yeah, you used to start your day off with, I forgot about that. Her having that daycare there.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, but everybody's life is different, you know.
And that's a situation where, so your wife was home. She had a home-based business, and my wife's the same way. She stays at home with unruly kids that tear the hell out of everything, and the state gives us disability money. But it's about the same as your wife working from home.
Yeah.
The same kind of feeling. It's like, I want to get out of here. That's my piece, is getting out of here.
And I'm sure you have the same argument every day. She's probably, I'll trade places with you any fucking day.
Well, and that would be, we've had that conversation, and I've said, you know, to be honest, it would suck. I probably would prefer to be working, but if you wanted to trade, I would stay at home and you get a job. Now, can you make the money I do?
Yeah.
That's where it falls apart. And that's it's not due to her ineptness or anything wrong with her. It's due to the fact that it took me 10 years
to get where you're at,
to build what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And even, like, I could just tell her to do my job, but you can't just hire somebody off the street. She could maybe do my serves, some of them.
Yeah.
But like the paralegal work that I do, that took a college education and 12 years of skill doing. You can't just come off the street and do this. I'm always amazed that, you know, I think about it, how much I actually know now, you know.
But yeah, you have to appreciate that, you know, one person sacrifices so the other one can get to
her job's definitely harder than mine.
And you have to appreciate that everybody's life is a little bit different.
Yep.
And until you take the time to get to know them and talk to them a little bit, you never know.
Dude, I have fence posts swung at my head at my job, and I still would not trade that for being home with my kids.
Yeah.
So, what does that tell you?
Right.
It is very stressful.
Yeah, I'm lucky. You know, Sarah gets to stay home, and I say gets to, but
what's she doing nowadays anyway?
She just watches our grandkids.
Let's say, I know she gave up the daycare when you guys
just watches our
moved out of the
grandkids,
house.
and but I mean that's a full-time job watching 3 little kids, and what's funny is at the end of the week.
Okay, so let's touch on that. Justices, I'm a little out of touch.
Yeah.
Whose kids are they?
They're all
Mariah?
justices. They're all justices.
What about Mariah? She got any kids?
She hasn't had any kids yet.
No? Okay. How old are they now? Justice's got to be like 30, 32 now,
Yeah,
right?
yes, she is.
25 or 26.
Really? Is that all?
And Mariah turns 21 next week. And
I think the last time I saw Justice, I chewed her out for coming downstairs in some shit I think she didn't wear, and she complained to Carlos, and Carlos was like, well, he's right.
Yeah. But yeah, so no, she's got 3 kids. They're
she was like 15 is the last time I saw her.
5, 4, and 1. And they're awesome, dude. I love my grandkids.
What are their names?
Lyra.
Your listeners might know this, but I don't.
Yeah, Leighton, Lyra, and Logan.
Leighton, Lyra,
and
Logan.
Yeah.
They're cuties.
Yeah.
La, 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 la.
They all have the same initials. All of them have the same initials.
What's the middle names?
Oh, God, I don't know.
They got to be the...
they all have two middle names.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll get them all fucked up if I try and say it. So, and then I'll get yelled at because I'm their grandpa and I don't know their names. But you know, I'm already gonna get yelled at because I don't know when their birthdays are.
Yeah.
So,
dude, if
it's
Facebook
whenever Sarah
tell
says
me
they
birthdays,
are.
I wonder. Yeah. You know, and I keep getting. How many years did I get you and Jax confused? You're the 7th, right?
Yeah.
God, for years I had him as the 5th, and that's Jax. They're 2 days apart. Him and our friend Jack Vicari. He's literally 2 days different than him, and I'm a month after.
I'm a year different because he's a year younger than me.
Oh, I thought it was straight year, or on the year. I thought it was just like 2 days.
I don't think so. I think I'm like almost a year older than him. Might be wrong. He might be 2 days older than me. Hold on. Yeah, I'm not sure where we were, but we're back
on a bathroom break.
There we go.
We were.
That's what happens when you put 3 old dudes in a freaking office.
Yeah,
you gotta take a lot of bathroom breaks.
Well, yeah.
My other buddy Mike was here the other day, And he didn't even know that I had the podcast going. And I was telling him he needs to get on the podcast. And he goes, as long as you're okay with us taking lots of bathroom breaks. And I just started laughing. I was like, that's part of the podcast.
That's
dude.
right.
People wouldn't know what to do if we didn't take at least 1 or 2 bathroom breaks.
Well, we show up and you ply us with glasses of liquor. What do you expect's going to happen? Sure, you bought us
don't
lunch
have
first.
To drink. I've had guests that don't drink.
Oh, you're out of your mind now.
Yeah.
Free liquor.
It's never been me.
You'd be lucky if I don't take a doggy bag.
No, this is one of my favorite things that I do, though. It's one of the first things I've ever done actually for myself is this podcast. And,
Oh, that's why I wanted to show up too, because I figured, I've never done nothing like this. It sounds cool. I hope I don't sound terrible.
No, not at all.
But
no.
just the fact that, like, when I asked you, I'm like, what are you going to be the next Joe Rogan? Now, opinions on Joe Rogan aside, that wasn't my point.
Yeah.
And you're like, not really. And what did I tell you? I'm like, no, fuck that. Be the next Joe Rogan. Isn't that what I told you?
Yeah.
I don't this is cool. It's
This
like
is-
Jack racing cars.
This is
Like, I've got a
relaxing.
piece of shit car up there that barely runs anyway. And I'm like, fuck, let's make it over. I don't know. I'm like, you got a podcast. My other friend drives race cars. I'm like, fuck, I want to do that shit. And here I am.
I
just
guess
doing
it's part of my
nothing.
midlife crisis.
Yeah, right.
Midlife.
What do you do with your midlife crisis? I thought I was having a midlife
Well, step
crisis.
one,
He,
drink.
he goes,
Step two,
I
find a
bought a
hobby."
business and started a podcast.
Well, so I thought my midlife crisis was a few years ago.
No, that was
and
not
I bought when I bought an RC car.
No.
But apparently not.
I'd like to believe that this is a midlife crisis, but you're the same age I am, so trust me, we're past midlife.
Hey,
Unless you change your
hoping.
ways,
I'm hoping.
fucking next week, same as me, we're well past midlife. We're like 2/3 life. I think.
2/3.
At least.
By the statistical average, no, 78. By the statistical average, we're at 2/3 life.
Yeah.
And I think
Well,
when I
based off
think
of my
about-
family, based off of my family history, I'm already
Well-
past death.
Okay. My dad made it to 85. My grandma was 104. I
That's
feel good about my
amazing.
odds.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad makes me feel good about my odds.
How's he doing now, anyway?
He's doing good, but
You had him on the show a couple
he
weeks
just turned
ago.
75, I think.
He's ornery.
So
I love it.
yeah, so if I can keep up with him, I got a little more time. I might be able to watch my grandkids graduate high school and shit.
Oh, shit.
Well, next time you talk to him, tell him I said hi.
So
I
I'm
was
gonna
like
get him
Dad.
on the podcast pretty soon.
You should put me and him on there. I'd love to sit in with your dad.
I'll probably just have him by himself. And honestly, the whole reason I'm going to have him on the podcast.
You haven't yet?
No, but number
What?
one,
Why
I
not?
think he'd be super entertaining. But number two, it's purely
No, you talked about on
selfish.
that one.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
you said, you know what? I wish I had something. And that goes back to what I was saying about spending every day with my dad.
Yeah.
When I was listening, that's the one that I listened to. And when I was listening to that, and you said about, I want to have it on here so I can replay it later and blah, blah, blah. And that's the situation I'm talking about. When with all my serves, I took Dad with me for two reasons. One, some of them were kind of hairy, and I didn't take him on every serve, but sometimes when they're like, yeah, this guy's violent, he's got a rap sheet this long, whatever. And I'm like, okay, Dad, you want to come watch my back? Well, he was a sheriff before. He knows procedure, and he might be old and maybe bad in a fight, but I promise you don't want to get a shot. He's a pretty good shot. And I'm like, and he's always like, what do you want me to just stay back there and watch my ass, And
You're all,
so,
just calm down, old
but
man.
so I have those. I don't have them on record. There's no record or video.
No,
that
but
I can-
those are
that I can
memories.
replay later. Like if you do that, you can show it to your kids later.
Yeah.
See, I've got the same kind of mentality, except I don't have anything to show to my kids later.
Stories.
So, but I made sure, I think it's very important. You should spend time with your dad. He's, I don't know, he's what, 75?
I think he
Okay,
just
so
turned
if he
70. It's
follows-
74 or 75.
So he's probably got another good 10 years in him, maybe more.
I'm
just
hoping,
on
yeah.
statistics. How's his health doing?
Well, his
Is
health
he-
isn't great, but I'm hoping he's
What do you
got
mean
at least
isn't
10
great? What's
years.
wrong
a
with
lot
him?
better.
just
He was
can't-
always your dad was like a badass. He was a strong guy. He was like tough man. What's wrong with him?
Well, he was a tough guy. He freaking ran every day, so his body's falling apart. He
Yeah.
can't breathe.
Screw those
He smoked every
doctors.
day.
I've got arthritis in my elbow here
He
that
can't
just
smoke. He
cropped
smoked
up, you
forever,
know.
so he can't breathe. I think he told me he just got
I
diagnosed
don't even remember
with
your dad
emphysema.
smoking.
His whole life he smoked. He just quit when he finally got. He almost died because he couldn't breathe and was in the hospital for about a month, and he finally quit smoking. And that was about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I came to the same. Remember? Okay, so when I was in boot camp, I could run 2 or 3 miles, and at the end be like, "I'm good, right?" Well, I can't anymore because I smoked for like 20 some years. Right now, I've got a couple of patches on, which I quit smoking right after my strokes. I quit smoking. And then Craig Tuttle's 50th birthday, I had a couple cigars. And so I just kind of picked up the habit again. And then, but recently I'm like, no. And for me, it's not even like cigarettes are $10 a pack. I smoke cigars, not cigarettes, but either way, they're expensive. Tobacco's expensive. Like, drugs are cheaper. Fucking for real. But for me, it got to the certain point. You're right. I can't walk across the street. I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the difference in our size. And I bet you have a better fucking blood oxygen lung capacity than I do at this point. And so that is concerning to me. And so once again, on patches to quit, because I mean, I've been sitting here drinking for an hour. We had lunch earlier and stuff. Normally I'd be jonesing for nicotine, but to all your listeners, I do recommend the nicotine patches. They do help.
Nice. Yeah, I've never smoked cigarettes, so I've never had a nicotine thing. I do smoke cigars, but
you never really
don't inhale, right?
Though.
Oh, I had some. I was freaking. I didn't know how much I should talk about the one time. Everybody knows about drugs.
Right.
So everybody knows.
King snort here.
I was.
He didn't inhale. It's all right.
You know, I'm no.
You don't inhale it. You snort it.
I don't keep any secrets about my past. I mean, I'm an open book about. I was everything that your parents warned you about.
I'm a semi-open book in my professions. Like, let's look at it now. You know my past. The only difference between me and all my friends is I never got caught.
Yeah.
And in Missouri, I had an even more checkered past, which I really don't want to put on the record. But let's say this, I work for judges and attorneys now.
Yeah.
I mean, my life has totally changed around. But yeah, that's all a part of my past. I wouldn't trade if I hadn't dealt with things that I shouldn't deal with, I probably wouldn't have the perspective on them that I do now.
Yeah.
Like your past with your substances, etc. But you never wanted to do them. You wanted the money.
Yeah.
For you, it was never about the drug. It was about the money.
My wife gives me a hard time now about the podcast.
Yeah.
She's like, "Why do you always have to talk about your drugs or whatever?" And I was like, but honestly, I'm not ashamed of it
because I don't give a shit who knows it.
The reason I talk about it is because I want people to know that your past doesn't have to define you. You can change.
Your past is
and that's a
behind
message I've been a little weak on. Okay, so the only attorney that I work for that knows like a lot about my past would be Dan, or about any current situation. Most of the attorneys, I don't even know how they'd feel about anything, but I don't bring up my past.
They were young ones too. So.
Well, yeah, and it's in my past, and it's like, well, that's not the person I am now,
right?
But I don't want them.
No,
there's certain stories I wouldn't want certain people that employ me to hear, even if it's long old history, because they might be a little judgmental about it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so that's where I'm even
human nature.
I want people to understand it's in your past too. But see, with you do your own thing in your own business. So if people don't like your past, they can piss off, and you want them to be okay with it. For me, I'm still part of what could be See, you can't be canceled. I could be victim to cancel culture if people wanted them to, and it would take away my livelihood.
Mike and I try and get canceled quite a bit.
Yeah, every once in a while.
Our last episode, we tried pretty hard.
Yeah, you had to.
I had to edit some stuff out that probably would have got us canceled.
Piss some people off.
Like what? Let's hear it.
Pronouns and shit.
Don't talk to me about pronouns.
By the end of the freaking episode, we have a few drinks and stuff starts coming out that even we don't really believe, but it comes out anyway. So.
I said that? Oops.
Oh, you talking about the pronoun brigade, the 37 genders?
Because
I got a strong position on that.
We actually didn't talk too much about pronouns. But.
No.
And that's where I'm kind of fortunate in one thing, because that's one viewpoint that I hold. I hold very conservative viewpoints. And let me put it this way. You're not going to... so my buying audience is attorneys. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to find very many fucking liberals among that group.
Yeah. I will tell you though, based off of your social media alone.
You haven't unfollowed me yet? What do I got to do? Everybody else did.
If these attorneys are still working with
No shit.
what you say, because those guys don't care, because your social media is very opinionated.
Oh yeah,
I like
very
it.
politically
I like
skewed
it.
one way
Yeah.
or the other.
oh yeah.
And
That's why I like especially Dan and Randy. They're
That's-
very outspoken. Randy's got a sign on his door that says "Warning: Lawful carry permitted here." And apparently, all his employees have concealed carry, and they're armed. And if they're not, he'll pay for it and buy you a gun.
That's called keeping it real, man.
He came into Dan's office one time, and we're pulling me, him, and the Robert Johnson. He was the judge now. I don't know, Robert. Sorry if you ever hear this. Whatever. We're all in Robert's office and we're pulling. I'm like, I got a gun. I got 2 guns on me. Randy had 3. Robert had like 2 on him. Dan's got 1 in the safe. He's got the judge, the 50 caliber, because he was running for
just out
judge.
of irony.
That's right. Yeah, it's right behind his desk in a quick unlock there. And there's been a couple cases where I'm like, that this guy's going to come in here and fucking.
We've actually done some
That's
little
awesome.
group concealed carry classes.
But I
For-
don't, there's no liberals.
Yeah.
They're all, I've never met a liberal attorney, not in this town.
Yeah, we've done some concealed carry classes for a couple law offices and several real estate offices, where it's just a private concealed carry class for just their employees.
Yeah.
And we're always open to do that. So if anybody's listening and they're interested in that, let us know. But yeah, we've done that a couple times.
It's kind of cool.
I'm not. It
actually.
doesn't surprise me at all that
Well, does
Most
Randy
okay.
shop here? Randy Rubin?
I couldn't tell you.
I'm going to give your card to him and stuff
Do it.
because, dude, if there's 3 things I know about Randy. He has an abundance of guns, Jeeps, and liquor. Okay, so
He sounds like my kind of guy. Maybe he should be on the podcast. All right.
I could ask him. He'd probably come in sometime. He's a hell of a guy.
Oh yeah.
Him and Dan are my 2 favorite attorneys by far. They're both very personable.
They're
I
ones that
like
you
them.
count as friends.
Well, like one of them, one time Randy calls me into his office and he's like, "Hey, I got to serve for you." But when he comes out to talk to me personally, it means something's up because usually his girls give it to me. And he comes out and he's like, "Yeah, I got a bit of a pickle here, and I want to let you know there's a danger factor." And he's like, "Well, the guy might pull a gun. He might shoot at you or something." And I looked at him and I went, "Randy, you ever think about calling the sheriff for some of these?" And he's like, "That's what I got you for. You said you want the difficult shit." And I said, "That's all you give me." He's like, "No, I give..." Anyhow, so he's like, "Yeah, go up there." I won't name the guy's name, but he says, "Go up there and talk to him, serve him these papers. He might shoot." There was a shootout between him and the sheriff like 6 months ago. He
Nice.
in a house, all this stuff. Might be a danger. I go up there. It turns out to be a client that I know from my hours as a paralegal in another law office.
So you were friends, kind of.
I already knew the dude.
Yeah.
I'm trying to recover some money on a car deal that he had go south. And when I rolled up, he's like, "Hey, Vince, what are you doing here?" I'm like, "Oh, well, actually, I'm here for this." And he's like, "Okay." And then he's like, "I was told he might shoot at me." And he's like, "Okay, yeah, sure." And then what about this, the car?
Yeah,
the
fuck
money?
that
Then he
stuff.
just talks about me, about his case with the other attorney
Nice.
and everything. And that's when I'm like, so many times I worked for both sides of the fence that I know somebody. Just this last week, I had to serve on a old man that's intruding on some property that he's got a life estate in, whatever. But I know the guy very well. Very well, I know him. And I go out there and, he wasn't home. I leave a card, call him and come back and, "Hey, how you doing?" And I says, "By the way, I'm sure he'll take your call, and he doesn't know anything about it yet, but I'm sure he will when you call. And he had a thing to do today, but he's free right now. He's sitting at his desk right now. I can tell you, call your attorney," because I work for his attorney,
Sure.
like for a lot of stuff, but I have to do everything impartial.
Oh yeah.
And the
Right.
hard part is, like, somebody like that, if they give me a wrong address, the guy hiring me gives me the wrong address to go to, even if I know this person, and I'm like, "No, they don't live there." I can't use that knowledge.
Yeah.
But but I have no skin in the game. I don't care. You told me to go here and look for him. I know
did.
he's not there, but I'm going to drive there and look for him and tell you I
that's
didn't
good to
find
know
him,
that
and you have to pay me.
That's good to know that you're honest about it.
No,
and
it
you
was
keep
one of
it
the
that
first
way.
things when I first did this. It was very hard to get business outside of DC law because they all know that I'm Dan's boy.
Yeah.
I'm Dan's boy, very loyal. I'm his guy. They all know that. And like another attorney that hired me, and I was having trouble running this person down, and he's like, well, you didn't tell Dan that you were after his client. And I says, no, I didn't tell him that. And if I told him that, he'd ask me what the fuck my problem is. He takes confidentiality seriously.
Yeah.
I work for both sides of a case. Like today, I went out and served somebody for someone, and by the time I drove back to DC Law to pick something, it's like they're already on the phone. I'm like, well, that was fucking fast, you know? But no, it's weird that I work for, that's probably the hardest thing to break into my business. It took me a long time to convince everybody in town that I can work for everybody and keep my mouth shut.
That's probably one of the drawbacks to working your type of business in a small town.
Well, and if I was just a process server, it wouldn't be a problem. But see, I work as a paralegal too for one firm and another one or two very part-time on select projects. So if they have an interaction with this person's client, they're worried that I'm not going to keep my mouth shut, and I'm like, no, I'm impartial. Look, it's their fucking lawsuit, and their lawsuit has nothing to do with me. I have no skin in the game.
I'm here for the money.
I work for whoever pays me money. I'm a dancing monkey for whoever pays money, and I never talk. I see it going on, and I laugh about it, and I talk to them about it after the fact that I work for both sides, but I can never bring it up before the fact.
Yeah.
And that's been the hardest thing, is to convince people that I have the integrity to be impartial and to give them the same. It's like one time Randy's client, I was trying to serve him something in the courthouse. It was before he hired me to work for him, and the client wouldn't take it. And Randy said, I'm not authorized. And I threw it down the hallway and let it spread all out down 2 stories of the courthouse floors. And I was like, fuck you, you're served. And later on, when I talked to Randy and I says, well, you only hire me when it going gets rough. Why don't you hire me for everything? And I was like, I'll work just as hard for you as I do against you.
Yeah.
That's my motto. But it took a long time to convince everybody that I can be impartial and work for everyone and keep my mouth shut. That was the biggest barrier to this.
Yeah. Let me ask you, has your, I guess, checkered past, does it actually help though? When you're dealing with clients and stuff, when you're trying to serve people and they're like,
you can read a person,
you can read people
a little bit, a little bit, like the chick that was passed out on the floor and I served her. Like, I know, okay, so the legal definition is that she has to know that I'm serving her something. And there's one time that I served something. I don't know if she knew or not. She verbally recognized my presence, but personally, I know she's probably not there, but she verbally recognized my presence, and that's all that's required. So I let it go. But other than that, no, it doesn't really help or it would probably hinder more than help. If they all knew. The only attorney that really knows about my checkered past would be Dan McKinney. And that's because I'm a personal friend. I go to his family reunions at Loon Lake every summer. And, he's the only attorney that I've ever just been shit-faced around, messing around with his son-in-law and stuff. And like a familiarity level that's way greater. Yeah. There's some in town that don't have such a bedside manner, and they probably have no clue about my checkered history, and I just leave it at that.
You're kind of friends with his family too, aren't you, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alan, he works for me.
Oh, yeah. He works out there?
He's a swing shift employee.
Nice.
Oh, Al?
Yeah.
Has he ever referred?
We call him fuck man.
Ask him about the gun raffle when Dan was running for judge and he showed up. And since then, like I said, we were out there getting shit-faced. It was me, Al, and Dan in a boat. Dan totally sober and straight.
He has no filter at all. He just goes.
I was trying to pee off the boat, and he's rocking the boat. I almost pissed on Dan, and he's just laughing his ass off.
Yeah.
It's
a small town. Everybody
Good people.
ends up knowing everybody.
Good people.
Or you at least know somebody that knows them. And yeah, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing.
Like when I try to track people for serving them, I look them up on Facebook and it's like,
of course,
who's the mutual friends?
There you go.
Hey, you know this person?
They just posted 15 minutes ago,
Where are they at?
Oh, those are the easy ones. I love the people that are like, I'm having tacos at Sunshine Street.
There you go.
I love this place. I come here Great. Keep posting that shit. Makes you easy as fuck to find. I hate the ones you get locked profile, 2 pictures, and I'm like, oh shit, nothing here I can use.
Gotta find another avenue.
Try running a podcast and you're trying to research people. Like you search their profile and it's just a fucking photo. That's it. One photo. No posts. No nothing.
Yeah. Just a picture.
Mine is, I look at it this way. I drive off the week. You got to really be my friend to be my friend, because if your viewpoints are opposed to my, I let them weed them. I would love a Facebook feature that showed you fucking like who defriended you this week, so I could ask him what the final straw was.
So you can have a tally going.
But there's so many people that I like, they were my friends and now they're not. And you see the shit on my feed. He's like, bro, come on.
Nope, ain't having it.
But he was the first one to realize he's a stout Democrat, but he also carries. And I asked him one time about his politics, because his goal is to be governor of Oregon. His being a judge is a political step.
Well, I think a lot of people's is. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's what my wanting to be an attorney was to do that for politics. But that's a dream long gone. But he's actually living the dream. Okay.
Yeah.
And I asked him sometimes, because I'm like, he's the only Democrat that I would vote for governor.
Oh, jeez.
No, I really would, because, and he was the one that said, you look at this, the media would have us here and here, but when we talk, we're here and here.
Yeah.
Well, he's old school.
We're really a lot
Democrat.
closer. Yeah. And I asked him, like, what do you feel about the Second Amendment? And he's like, I ain't that fucking liberal. He's like, I wouldn't touch that. Hell no. He grew up in Atlanta. His dad was a drug dealer. Yeah. He couldn't even read. He got into college, and he'd love to tell this story. I get him on your podcast if you want. You want a judge on here? He'd love to tell you. He couldn't even read. He went to was it the Ducks or the Ducks on a scholarship for basketball, and he's built like you, but taller. And I'm like, basketball. He's like, yeah, motherfucker. I guess he's pretty good. So he had a full scholarship, and some one of his advisors talked to him about going to law school, and he was just like, sure, whatever, like, I don't know, like, that's pie in the sky, like, and then he did it, whatever. And compelling story, he was in college, couldn't even read effectively. She taught him to read and everything, and it's a really beautiful story, actually. That's cool. Yeah. And then he goes on to become an attorney and then a judge. So it really is a compelling story. And he's a good friend of mine. But he won't be friends with me, like, in public. You know what I mean? Of course not. Because he's a judge, and I have some real strong views opposite his democratic beliefs. But in reality, we're real close to each other.
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of the things about social media is, a lot of people are that way.
Well, it drives a wedge. People get too comfortable with not getting punched in the face for saying shit.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Well, and people take everything too serious. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you'll say, Mike's the king of it. I mean, he likes to just
It's fucking
randomly throw some shit out there.
Total entertainment.
And he's just
I'm
doing
going to add you.
Sometimes it's just for fun. I mean, sometimes it's not even what he really cares about.
I don't give
He's just
two
fucking
shits.
with somebody.
Stirring the pot.
But they,
there you go.
Yeah, this ought to be fun. Let's see what happens.
People take it so serious and have to act so offended by it. And you're like, and then random people that don't even know you.
It's not a dick.
Have
Don't
to
take it so
chime
hard.
in. Some people have to
And
chime
then
in.
they
and
send you all these private
they're
messages.
like,
and shit.
I can't believe this guy is saying this kind of thing. And you're like, you don't even know him. Who the fuck are you?
I got a few things to say to you.
Well, and I think that's the kind of the dystopian future that we're living in now. People are
unfortunately,
they're so removed from personal connection.
Yeah.
They don't have
100%.
Like my memories of you are all physical memories. We went places, we did things, you don't even anymore, like people just bicker online. Like, have you ever even met this person? Because he might be kind of cool, or he might be a complete douchebag. The fuck, I don't know.
Exactly.
But you're basing your entire interpretation of his morality on a comment he made.
Yeah, I can't believe
on a post.
Yeah.
And he might have been cynical about a topic he thought was shit and was cynical about it. So you think he's just cynical and shit about everything.
What I was laughing about today was,
you know,
we were talking about my friend Michael Ardito, he made a comment, kind of the same scenario that I just went through on there, and some lady just totally started bagging on him and shit. He's like, slow down, Karen. What the fuck?
Well, I mean, like when we were growing up, I mean, Shit, fucking, you get in a fight with your friends.
Yes.
You punch each other in the mouth. You might bleed a little.
Well,
you might talk. You might not talk to each other for a week or so.
A couple
But you're
days.
fine later.
Or a year or so,
Yeah.
if you steal somebody's girlfriend or something.
Oh,
you get in a
yeah.
fight.
Real
Shit
shit.
happens, and you don't. But it doesn't matter. You know.
Yeah.
You don't.
5 years later, we're both like, yeah, fuck that bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get offended
she really
forever.
wasn't worth it as you're drinking.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean,
Her blowjobs weren't even
back
that
in our
good.
days, you guys were. I mean, people were. You just didn't take it that serious.
No.
You know, you got offended once in a while, but that was just part of life. You didn't
It's
have
like,
to.
I can't believe you said that. Oh, yeah, you did. Okay. Next subject.
Nobody else. I mean, you might have a couple close friends that were like, "I can't believe you're putting up with this shit."
There's some topics I'd like to bring up right now, but I won't out of respect for Sarah. But even though they were 20 years before you met Sarah, but I'll let it be.
It don't matter.
Like, remember Nikki?
I don't know.
No.
That's when the
He's
gator.
so-
That's the week the gator died.
Oh.
No.
Oh, that.
Oh,
that
that
Nikki.
one.
you
I forgot her
jackass.
name.
Yeah,
That was
so
her
did
name?
I. Now
Oh,
he's remembering.
fuck,
Look at that
Carlos.
face.
No,
He's
Sarah knows
remembering
all about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Sarah,
like there's
Sarah and I were best friends before we ever got together.
well,
so
like
she
I
knows
said, there's
everything.
some shit that I'd bring up that I don't out of respect for your wife. But it's like, yeah, but that was like 20 years before you even met her. So
Well, my wife knows everything. We don't have any secrets. We were best friends before we were together, so I had told her everything.
I stole his girlfriend one time when he was at boot camp, and then he stole her back. And then when we were living in Missouri, I was dating this girl, and I was coming back here to see some other girl, and he's like, "Can I fuck her?" And I'm like, "I don't give a shit. Fuck the shit
Yeah,
out of her."
go ahead. I'm
And so
gone.
then he did,
I'm not there.
whatever. And then I went back to.
He
be
was
with her
mad
for a
because I
little
fucked her.
bit. No, I wasn't that mad.
You punched me in the mouth.
No, I didn't.
But he
Yes,
wasn't.
you did.
But he wasn't that
remember
mad though.
I don't remember that.
I just got done shaving.
He
I don't
fucked
remember
I
her.
that.
still had fucking shaving cream on my face.
Dude, I'm sorry. I don't remember that. I shouldn't have done that if I did.
I shouldn't have done that. He says.
I told him I didn't
I
care.
had no control over it. She
That's
came at me.
fucking
No,
awesome.
she was a whore anyway.
Yo,
Let's be honest.
It
you know.
is Carlos,
Dude, I remember
Mr.
punching you. I'm sorry
Suave.
if I did.
I told
shouldn't
you
have done that.
could.
Yeah, he's
I'm
all
like, dude, you
good.
can punch me in the face. And you're like,
Oh,
okay.
fuck,
and you
it's
punched
even
me.
better.
I was like, all right. Well,
Was
okay.
I drunk? Because don't say shit like that.
no,
He's
man.
like,
you weren't
okay.
drunk. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning. I was still shaving.
That's
I was
fucking
probably
awesome.
just high then. That's when I was 20 years old, so probably.
Dude, that's one of those memories that you just forget about.
There-
That's like Will.
Carlos is like, you just fucking hit
Me and
me.
Will got together. He
All right,
told
let's
me
go to
about me
McDonald's.
fucking kicking his ass, and I didn't even remember that.
I don't remember that either.
You weren't there.
Well, I remember he used to live out in Green. We'd go pick him up in the middle of the night around the corner because his mom was, well, nuts.
Yeah. No, it doesn't matter. But my whole point was that, back in the day, you got in arguments,
Yeah.
you didn't agree with
It's
things.
done and over
We've
with.
stole women from each other.
Things
fucked
things
together.
happened, and you just let it go.
Yeah.
Done and over with.
And not one of them bitches mean shit to me. Like Heather, that was the dumbest fight ever. Was over Heather, that fucking stupid bitch. We ended our friendship for like a year. Oh, and you know the worst part? Let's talk about that fucking scratch in your car.
Oh Jesus! The fucking
Let's talk about that fucking scratch in your car.
Hey, I beat you in court.
shit's
You're the
getting
dog
dead.
guy.
Shit's
Well,
getting
now I am. Not then.
Your problem was that you couldn't control your emotions back
No,
then.
my problem then was that I got pinned up for a crime based on evidence
A
that was
crime.
false. No, wait.
You got based on evidence
Wait,
that I just
no.
made up.
No, hold on. I was guilty. I want to start with that. I did do it.
Yes.
I scratched his car right down the side of his fucking white Mustang that he was so proud of.
It was
Yeah.
barely. It was like fucking 4
But here's
inches
the
long.
deal. Here's the deal. I did it with a key. I think I was driving the Geo Metro at the time. My mom's Geo Metro, you know that little car?
The best part was that he hired an attorney.
No, I didn't.
I was
No, that was
representing
public
myself.
defender.
He had a public defender. I was representing myself, and I beat both of them.
And I don't even remember the specifics, but I'll
That's
tell you what I
fucked up.
do remember is that I scratched his car down down his door. And
I
it was
forgot about all this.
It was
even
like
happening.
with a key. It was with that stupid bitch Heather. It's right. And so I scratched his car door. I gouged it fairly decent enough that it was noticeable. And then the next day, this is twice. There was that time, and then the time with Will with the false ink that I got pinned up.
He limp wristed
So the
shit
next
out of
day,
that scratch.
so the next day, the cops come to my house and stuff, and they were they came up with some theory about how my valve stem covers fit the marks or something.
You're like,
And and I was like, I fucking guarantee you that did not scratch that.
Yeah, I know.
Because I did it with my key. That was how that went.
Hell yeah.
And that's like the time that remember with Will. That's just like the time.
The best part though was I knew that Vince could not control himself in court. I knew that if I got him fired up, he would fucking light up. So all I did was I was just totally sarcastic and freaking condescending.
No
I don't
way.
remember.
And he
court.
lost his fucking mind in the middle of court.
And
fired
the
his
judge is
attorney,
like, man.
and he fired his attorney, and it was like a movie, dude. He just lost.
Yeah, but
his
it was
shit.
a stupid judgment. I never even had to give it. I don't remember what.
I don't think anything
I don't think
ever
anything
came of
ever
that.
happened.
That's fucked up.
No, I think maybe I had to.
That's funny
Was
shit.
it, I don't think I even had to pay a fine or do community service or nothing.
It was
I
funny
might have
as
owed
shit.
you money, but if so, I don't
I
remember.
even drew a stupid fucking picture that proved
Yeah.
that he could
Oh,
do it.
and the picture. Oh, yeah, because my dad was there. Because the picture, he drew this picture that had it was an inaccurate picture that had angles that couldn't possibly exist.
You see it, mouse stem won't fit in there.
I drew it. I didn't even.
Yeah, those that was all wrong. None of this could have happened. And
That's
based
fucked
on his
up.
evidence, it should have been thrown out because his evidence was bullshit.
Dude, I thought I was
Even
going to be an attorney after that, dude.
His evidence was
Fucking
bullshit. It
goddamn
should have been
Perry
thrown out,
Mason
but the
shit
fact
right
was
here.
I was guilty.
Oh, I just knew. I already knew he did it. I knew he
awesome.
did it without a doubt. And I knew
No, I
that if
didn't.
I got
Prove
him
it. Prove it.
fucking pissed off enough in court that he would have an outbreak because he had no self-control.
He's like, prove it. And you're like, okay.
And I knew that I could.
And one of my 16-year-old petty maneuvers was on Christmas that year. I left him a can of bean dip on his porch
Oh, fuck.
as a Christmas present. And then this son of a bitch, to try and turn the cheek, he's like, yeah, I was at a bean dip, thanks. And I'm
Thanks.
like, fuck you, you fucking shit.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
I mean, I was trying to be racist. And he's like,
I,
I was at a bean dip, and I'm like, it's Carlos.
we've been friends for years. I knew how to push every button that he had, dude.
That's fucking awesome.
It worked too.
I forgot about that whole thing.
I think you got the better end of that.
Comes out with a
half.
bag of chips. Oh, big dip. Thanks, man. I know.
I forgot about that whole fucking.
God
I forgot that whole
damn.
scenario.
Well, at the same time I left the bean dip that same night, it was when Aaron came over and fucking knocked you out for fucking his woman.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Aaron Wadraska, the night I left the bean dip on his porch, he had another visitor from this guy. He'd slept with his girlfriend. They came over and Curtis brought him over
Yeah.
because he didn't know he was going to do it. And then Aaron just fucking knocks him down on the porch.
No.
And I was like, well,
we put my tooth through my lip.
That
I know,
fucker.
and you know, but here's the petty in me. I was like, okay, so my joke fell flat, but go Aaron.
Now eat the beans.
You're gonna need them. Your teeth don't work. But no, yeah, I was trying to be racist
me.
against him, and then he's like, I was at a bean dip. I love that shit. Thanks. And I'm like,
Fucking awesome.
fuck you, your dick.
Holy
Oh,
fuck.
God. It was the best. I forgot. all
We've
about
had a
that.
love-hate relationship for what, 40
That's fucking
years.
beautiful, man. I love
40
it.
years now.
Well,
38.
like I introduced
38,
you, dude, you're my
40
one of my
years.
oldest friends, dude. You are my oldest friend
Well,
that I still talk to.
I was about to say you're the oldest friend the only friends I know longer than you was Keith Rucarbert, Harry's nephew. I met him when I was like 2, lived next door. He's in prison now because he woke up, somebody was on the couch and he shot him, and it's like, that's not an intruder situation. He's in prison now. Harry's
Wow.
nephew. Yeah. Anyhow. And then maybe Keith Gunter, like 4th grade. His dad was an Oregon State Patrol cop, but I haven't talked to him since 6th grade, and that was 4th grade when I met him. So no, definitely you're my longest running friend.
That's pretty
You
good,
and
dude.
Jack,
That's cool.
you by a couple of years, and then
I
Jack soon
introduced you
after.
to Jack. So.
Yeah, when you moved to Fremont.
Yeah.
That's cool as hell.
And he's been by several times for me
I
and Jack
would
hang
love
out.
to get together with Jack next time he's in town. I haven't
Well,
seen him in years.
Every time he comes down to Douglas County for his races, he stops at my house for a barbecue,
Well,
beer,
good.
and
Tell him that we'll get together next time.
well, we'll run down the road next.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 6 blocks away.
That's great. Yeah, me and Jack had a good time too.
No, actually, we came in here like a month ago, and if I'd have known now, I'd have just been like, yeah, fuck you guys, screw off, I'm busy. But your guys stopped us at the door, and me and Jack came in. I was like, yeah, Carlos is right down the road. We came in here, and your guys are like, he's in a meeting in the back. And I'm like, is he going to last a long time? And they're like, yeah, usually. And I'm like, well, okay.
I probably was recording a podcast.
I don't know, but they're all fucking going off about
Yeah.
shit. So I was like, well, just tell them I stopped. I mean, if it was today, I'd be just like, screw off, we're going back there.
No.
But no, we stopped in like 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah.
To,
Well, next time, for sure. That'll be cool.
I'll just interrupt. Well, now I would just walk in the back room and ignore your guys, whatever, you know. But... No, like today. No, the other day, this motherfucker was sitting there with his cameras up. He's got like 20 cameras around here. And you see this window? I parked out there. I walked around. I looked in the window. I knocked on it. I tried this door. I walked around. I come in here. He's sitting here with all his cameras up. And I'm like, you really just didn't.
Fuck?
I feel like the Lorax that Danny. You didn't just see all that lightning and thunder out of the sky?
I was probably in the bathroom.
No, you were like, no, I don't even look at it. I'm like,
He's
why
like,
the fuck is it on your screen then?
What the fuck is this guy doing?
I got better things to do than pay attention to my employees nonstop.
Whatever. I'd stick my ass right on that window.
You know, where were we?
I don't know. We're back, though.
Laughing our
We're
asses
back, and
off.
off the record stuff's gonna have to stay off the record.
Yeah. No, it's funny, dude, because, I mean, the coolest thing about old friends is there's so many little things that happen in your relationship.
You know, the stories are better when you hated each other. If we all just sang Kumbaya, there wouldn't be nothing to talk about.
Well,
That's right.
And real friends have times that they didn't like each other, dude.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably the same as like being married to somebody. You know, you have times when you're like, I wanted to strangle them.
Like, I remember your words to me. It's like, yeah, well, I'd say when we sat down with Billy about and you were like, I don't know, I'd say anything to piss him off. Remember Billy?
Yeah.
Whatever. And and he's like, I'd say anything to piss him off, you know. And we'd been best friends for 6 years. Like, inseparable. Everything together. Best buddies, compadres, and then a fucking bitch in the middle of it. And then he's like, I'd do anything to piss him off. And then 1 year after that, and we're both like, all right, that was stupid. Let's be friends again.
Yeah. That was a
right?
little bit.
Remember that?
Well, that's why you're not supposed to fucking fight over a girl.
No.
Yeah, it's not worth bros before hoes. And and you know what though? Until you go through
means
and
something.
now, until you go through that, maybe it doesn't mean nothing. But honestly, after dealing with that with Heather and Carlos and Nikki and fuck them. Yeah, bros before. I can see where that saying comes from.
It came from somewhere.
The important part, though, is that
we all moved on.
You eventually get past it.
Met people that were worth meeting.
Reconnect, yeah.
It's all learning.
Yeah.
And fighting over them dumb hoes was stupid because they're dumb hoes. They wasn't worth neither one of our time.
No.
But yet we fought each other over some bitch that ain't worth being in nobody's life.
Where's she at now, right?
Mike and I have been friends for a long time, but we never do that.
No.
Mostly because both of us are too lazy to be fighting.
Well, no, it's because you met each other later in life. I mean, at this age, like, you know,
honestly, I met Mike because he was one of my wife's best friends. I pretty much had to become friends with Mike because
we'd met each other before, but
but I didn't really know you.
No.
Like I said, you know, you can't fuck my wife. It's impossible because the minute you do, she's not my wife. So,
that ain't my wife.
But I mean, that's the mentality, that, you know.
But
when you're young and you're full of hormones and you think
that's right.
You know, I love this person.
Thinking with your dick.
You know, thinking with your little head, and you think that's all there is, you know.
And honestly, it doesn't matter with the wives and the girlfriends or whatever.
No.
The important thing is you got friends.
Yeah.
You know, you should freaking hold them. Keep your friends close, you know.
Definitely.
Shit happens. You gotta let it get past you.
You
know, even if time passes,
changes.
You can always reconnect. I mean, you and I haven't talked forever, and we just started reconnecting.
It's fucking badass.
Well, you know my brother Steve.
Yeah.
You know Steve.
Yeah, I count him as a friend too.
Well, and me too. But see, we've had this rift lately.
Yeah,
a big rift, and without going into too many details, it's a big rift. We're not talking right now.
Yeah,
and there's, you know, I have certain regrets about that. I regret The same as talking to you about like the Nikki and Heather thing. There's things I did that were fucked up, but you did some things that were fucked up too.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so, but then instead of unwinding and trying to talk about this discord, it's like,
Still.
and you just fight more and more, harder and harder.
Yeah.
And you don't take a step back to, and so one of my big regrets right now is that I'm not on speaking terms with my only full brother.
Yeah.
You were talking about that with Marcos, how sometimes you know, but see, with you and Marcos, now you're at the fucking everything's chalked and level and what's done is done. I wish I'd have done this. And I have the same, to my discredit, I have the same mentality like that about my brother, like an FU front though, not like yours. And he's still alive. He's right there down the road. I could talk to him, but it's like, it's a holdout. Like, you don't call me, and so I don't call you.
Yeah, you're not ready yet.
You know?
Well, I'll tell you.
And
Especially when you're talking about your brother, sometimes one person just has to swallow their pride and be the one. But I will tell you, if I ever had been in the same situation, I would do anything to fix it. Even if I had to be the one to swallow my pride, because, my little brother's gone, and I would do anything to spend 5 more minutes with him. And I'd hate to see you someday be the same way. So, I mean...
with our lifestyles, who knows? It's a coin flip who's going to go
because
first.
Your brother's the same as you and me.
We're both fucking hard-headed.
Well, you're hard-headed, but I mean, just like... You and your brother have always had the same kind of relationship as just a couple of friends.
Well, I've always said me and my brother are the same person. We're basically twin. Our views on life are identical. The only difference between us is our chosen professions.
Yeah.
I went into paperwork and mentality, and he's into physical and building.
Well,
other than that, we have the same views on it. Our political differences, everything down the line is identical.
And you guys have family things that tear you apart one way or the other. But I would tell you, if you can find a way to just drop it and at least have a relationship, I would recommend it.
Give it a try.
Because someday it's going to happen.
Inevitable.
And you're going to wish that you had time with your brother. Because that's all I think about now.
Well, I've got the same thing going with Alan. Do you remember him?
Yep. Yeah.
He used to buy us beer?
Yep.
Okay, so he lived with me. Let's see. It was Sam was 2.
Yeah.
So 16 years ago, roughly. He lived with me before that and then moved out to California, met this girl, Candy, moved back there, and we, in advance of him moving there, we rented a 4-bedroom apartment so that he'd have a place to come. So bedroom for me, bedroom for our kid, me and wife, kids, him and Candy and his kids, 4-bedroom. Well, lots of things went south there, and like one of her kids was at the window flashing his junk, being like, hey girls, do you want some of this? To a couple ladies in the parking lot. To their credit, they were a nice, very polite gay couple that came up, and they thought it was funny. They thought it was kind of funny, and they came up, but they wanted to tell us that their kid was
This is what your kid's doing. Yeah.
And that and some other things he did, and then I found out that he was more than likely guilty of. There was an incident in the bushes in kindergarten with him and a girl where she complained and stuff, and whatever he got, he was penalized for it. So more than likely guilty of some action. Let's leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going through custody with Heather, with Sam, and part of the thing was they locked the door in from the other side, whatever. And so me and Alan, we had a big to do about that, and I told him, I was like, well, they got to leave my house. I'm like, you don't have to leave. You're my brother, but I can't have this here. They have to leave. And it was this girl, Candy.
It was
just
the girlfriend's kids.
Yeah. And moved from California. And so they end up moving out and everything. Fast forward like a year. She left him for some other guy, and he was staying on their couch now. And I'm like, well, but I haven't talked to him since. And I kind of regret that, but he's as bullheaded as I am.
Right.
He's another one of our brothers, but So yes, I do kind of regret that.
Yeah, but I think Carlos
and I'm
is
not
onto
sure how to
something.
reconnect with Alan over that. you
I'm
know?
telling you though,
I totally
I'm
think-
telling you, when it comes to all that stuff,
Like, I'm real justified in throwing those people out of my house, but at the same time, that meant my brother went with them, and I don't know how to reconcile it. Like, I didn't want to throw my brother out, but I had to throw out the situation that he brought.
Right. Yeah, you're
So-
protecting your own.
well, that was honestly the same thing that happened when I moved to Missouri with you. You know, Claude's wife came up missing $100 and thought that I'm the one that stole it because I was the only stranger in the house.
I don't remember that, but that's bullshit.
Yeah. And that's the whole reason why you and I had to move out. And
You're
Was
like-
it?
you're
I
like,
don't remember
"What?"
that because I remember, we were staying on the
You're like, what the fuck?
house there with Joe Zilla in the back. And
yeah, well, as soon as we moved out, like literally a week after we got our own place, they were like, "Oh, well, we found that $100. I'm sorry."
you know what? He divorced her. That's Rhonda.
Yeah.
He divorced her because she cheated on him. She moved in with some other dude, and
But it-
like,
My whole point is, though, it doesn't matter. You know, all that matters is that these are relationships that you're going to have forever. I mean, your family is more important. And at some point in your life, you're going to regret the time that you didn't have with those people. And
well,
if
I
you
mean,
can
I
fix
get
it,
that.
fix
I
it.
get that. Not, but you know, on the converse side, you want to know something else? In the last 10 years, I have a brother who I haven't hardly seen, and he's right here fucking in front of me now, and I miss him just as much. It's a brother of choice. You, sir. And like, who would I, like right now, this moment, who would I rather fucking spend this hour with, you or Steve? Like you, because Steve pisses me off. And me and you have hated each other before, but like I said, it's a brother from another mother. It's a choice thing.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I'm going to tell you, I'm just as fond of you as I am of my natural born brother. Right now, more so. But when the cards lay down, I get the blood's thicker than water on some level, but there's some level where the water's pretty thick,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and
It all goes back to, definitely ultimately takes two. Can't be one-sided.
well, it takes two to tango, and like my
Either
brother,
way.
my
takes
brother
two to
started
fuck or
off-
fight.
like I made a phone call. We had a night. I made a phone call to his wife, which I thought I was pretty respectful on him. My wife was listening to the whole time, and I was respectful. She took it the wrong way. Talked to my brother in the morning. He calls up to chew my ass, and of course I'm like, "Fucking back it up, bitch."
Well,
And then it just goes downhill from there. Just goes downhill from there.
yeah.
And so we're at odds right now. But no, you're right. I'd like to deal with that. And I know that, because my brother's still alive, so.
And I spent quite a bit of time with him.
But your relationship was, you and Marcos got along, you were pretty good. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't,
Well,
you don't
he
have
was
any
one of my best
regrets
friends.
about how you felt about him,
No,
know?
not at all.
Which, like, if Steve died right now or something, I might have some regrets about how I felt about it or how I handled it. So maybe you're right,
No, he and I were best friends, honestly. But it doesn't change the fact that if we weren't, I would regret every second. And I mean, we were best friends, and I regret not spending more time and not taking him more serious and stuff like that. I mean, he's the source of most of my regrets in my life.
Really?
And
I don't think your brother feels the same way. See, I like the year that 9 months I lived with him up there, whatever. I don't see any discord. I mean,
Well,
he looked up to you quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, of course he
I
did.
understand that, but in hindsight, when you look at things, you don't see that. You see only your side. And
That's because you're filled with regret. You
Yeah.
think of what
Yeah.
you're
and
looking
that's
with
my
the wrong
point.
lens.
That's the
I'm-
whole
You're
I'm
point.
looking
telling
with the
you-
wrong lens.
That's the whole
but it's the
point,
lens
yeah.
that you have, and that's what I'm telling
My
you.
chicken nuggets. Is that the lens you're looking through?
Dude,
You want to explain to the audience what
oh,
that
they've
means?
heard it. I've told that
Okay.
story a couple times.
Well, I was there.
Yeah, I know.
okay?
You were the freaking reason for the whole fight.
The
Yeah.
Me? I don't even
Me?
eat chicken.
I don't even like that.
You were the one I was giving the extra chicken nugget to.
Why? I'm skinny. Let your brother have
Jesus.
them. No, you started that fight. I was in the
That's fucking
background being
awesome.
like, wait, they're going to fight. And then I was just like sitting over, I could show you the whole layout of the house. I was sitting over here at the table. They're over here in the kitchen. And Carlos chasing him around with a barbecue. It's like one of those fucking forks.
Skewer, yeah.
Barbecue skewer. He's trying to whip the fuck out of Marcos.
You will eat it.
He's like, give us our fair share. It was him. It was he's a friend of mine on. I could tell you stories about me and him and his girlfriend in your bed while you were at the fucking factory.
Nice.
Anyhow, but James.
More?
Yeah.
Little James
was there.
James Moore?
All I know is
James Moore. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Look, when you look back in life, you know, your family means more than anything, and your family and your close friends, who your closest friends become family. So I mean, they're kind of the same.
Ultimately, definitely.
But I don't know. You don't want to end life without having a relationship.
No, and I don't. I'd like to. You know, several times I want to my discredit. I don't know what he wanted. We haven't talked in like 6 months since the thing about mom living with you and shit. Steve, he tried to call me. It was last week or a week or two ago. Twice. I was out watering my roses in the yard. It was like 5:30 at night. I didn't see it till like 8:30. And I sent him a text message back that said, hey, I just saw that you tried to call me. In fact, I forgot this string of messages existed. And in fact, I forgot you existed. What'd you want? And that was a little biting to send to your brother. I forgot this message existed. I forgot you existed. So I was a little biting when
you're
and
not
I don't
poking,
know what he wanted.
You're not poking the bear or nothing.
But I sent a biting response back.
Instant.
That's petty of me. I shouldn't have done that. I realize that. But you know what I think now, after talking to my mom, now that Becky has cancer and stuff, it might have been about that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, so maybe he was reaching out to his brother for a moment of softness in a hard time.
And you were an asshole.
Yeah. Son of a bitch.
An asshole. Well, I didn't know it was a moment of softness.
I'm just saying.
But I didn't,
if your brother
I'd have realized his wife had cancer and that's why he was calling, I probably would have answered.
I know, but I'm just saying, if tomorrow your brother was gone, you'd regret that whole conversation.
That's going to be the last fucking
I would.
thought.
And that's what you told me the other day when I was
You got to think about that shit.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes somebody has to be the one to suck it up.
I don't want to be a human. Fuck you. Stop being a dick
being
to me.
a human.
So, I mean,
you're right.
These are things I've learned, and it doesn't matter. I bet if you and your brother sat down and talked,
you'd just
you'd
start
be
laughing. You're a dumbass.
What we're fighting about is pretty fucking stupid.
We're both dumbasses.
Well, time, and you know, some part of me hopes time does that because, well, that's what happened with me and you.
Yeah, but time's not guaranteed, my friend. Time's not guaranteed.
Well, yeah, that's true.
You don't know.
Well, and that's what, okay, so I'll revise that. I was hoping at a certain time we'd come to our senses. Time's not guaranteed, but you know what's less guaranteed is coming to your senses.
Yeah.
That's less guaranteed. Time's more of a sure fit than coming to your senses.
But not coming to your senses is what you'll regret for the rest of your life.
Well, and it's been longer than I want, but like the stupid Heather thing. How long did me and you fucking have a rift? Like a year and a half? Which is a short time, actually. Yeah. It's not that long.
No, but we were young.
But yeah.
I don't care about that shit nowadays. I don't care.
That's dumb.
You know, if things happen, I try and let them go as fast as possible because what's important is the relationships that I have. If it's somebody that I really didn't give a shit to start with, then I'll just let it go.
I know you're a forgiving individual.
But if it's,
you give a flash of hate and then you let it go, like the other day in the bar when I went at the waitress and you looked at me like, "Oh, shut up," and I was like, "Yeah, whatever, get over it." You remember that? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. No,
we're tipping good. Move it, chick.
No, I don't.
11 o'clock.
I don't ever treat servers bad.
I didn't treat her bad.
You were rude.
No, I wasn't.
It's the same thing.
I don't think that's rude.
Yeah, it's rude.
Was that any rude than the girl tonight that said if I drop him, don't laugh at me, and she dropped him, and I got up and laughed and asked if she was okay? How was that different?
She was expecting.
I don't view that as different.
Yeah, that's different.
I view that as the same.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. All right. Anyhow.
That was funny though that she said
Yeah.
Don't laugh at me if I drop them. And then
I did ask her if she was okay.
I know you did. Are you okay?
That was just to be a joke.
That was fucking funny. Dude.
That was
We
a
joked
joke.
about that.
Just fucking yeah.
Oh,
2 seconds later. Toosh.
yeah. So
Sometimes I don't have a
But-
sexual filter.
we always go to splits. Those servers know. Tasha knows. She's our number one.
Is that her name? What?
Tasha, yeah, that's our number one server.
She works her ass off. She's good.
Yeah, and she knows.
Very,
Like she was really trying.
she's very
Oh,
good.
you gave her a
Very
good tip.
good at
Well,
her
and we
job.
pick on her, and she picks on us.
Very good.
So I mean, you get people that are the regular people, and
Yeah.
they are entitled to a little bit.
Well, that's
more
why
leeway.
there's certain, I call them frequent flyers at the law office
I'm
that
sure.
have a ongoing legal. They own.
I hope I'm never
shit.
a frequent flyer in a law office.
no,
Does
no.
not sound like a good thing.
No, actually, it could be. Think about this. But he has he's investment manager in about 5 or 6 trailer parks around here, and there's always people that need to be evicted, dealt with, or whatever. So he's a very successful person without any personal problems that has an attorney on call just so he doesn't have to.
He's a frequent flyer on the positive side.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, my boss doesn't represent. We don't do No, if you're a frequent flyer at my
But you
boss's
could
office,
call somebody a frequent flyer
Yeah.
if you serve them all the time.
Well,
You're
yeah,
always
I mean, but-
serving them.
but
They've
they'll-
been evicted 47 times in the last 2
And
years.
but
I've,
they don't
and
have an
I've done
attorney.
40 of them.
They don't have an attorney.
And I've served
No,
40
I've got
of
certain
them.
frequent
You're a
flyers.
process server, though,
And
so
in
a
fact-
frequent flyer for you is not good.
In fact, no, it is.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
paycheck.
yeah, it is. Are you kidding me? No, it's a great guy, and him having 5 parks and throwing out people all the time and needing an attorney is great for me because I get a check on every one of
Yeah,
them.
but the people
And
that you're
Morgan's a good
serving,
friend.
it's not good for them.
Well, fuck them. They need to get out.
Well, yeah, I don't disagree. I'm just saying.
Whatever
Tell you
reason.
shit.
You're saying
But
being
I'm
a
just saying
frequent flyer.
I'm just saying there's people that are frequent flyers at attorneys' offices that are really good people. That's not
No, I get you.
attorneys. Actually, only like about 10% of attorneys are like defending criminal stuff.
Right.
Most attorneys are on one side.
Civil.
And I've seen so many litigations where and Dan has even said, there's so many cases. He said, I could take either side of this case and feel okay about it.
Yeah.
But he does try to par down, and this is where you got to put your emotions at the door. This, like I was saying, how this is the least stressful part of my days out there. It's your lawsuit, not mine. And I realize I'm not naive. Lots of clients in the door that are problematic, that we hate to deal with, but they have
Money.
got the retainer fee. All right, so, okay, 50%, any attorney in town, 50% of their clients are full of shit. You want to know why I say that? Because in almost every story, somebody's in the path of right and somebody's in the path of wrong. And the judge will sort that out, or the jury, or whatever later on. And after it's all sorted out, you probably have a 50-50 representation rate. That's because they represent whoever comes in the door with a pile of money and says, I need legal help. And the attorney's job is to set it aside and say, I'm going to advocate the best ability of my client. That's my job. I'm going to put forth his truth as truth.
Sure.
And sometimes you even know they're full of shit and problematic, but
Yeah,
you know,
but you're
did the
getting
check
paid.
clear the bank?
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, well, see, for me, that would be a little bit of a moral. See, I've got several problems with being an attorney. One, I couldn't commit to the time. The other is
The
I look at
ethics.
some of that, and that's where like today we were having a conversation about people and their divorces and stuff, and I'm like, I don't give a shit. It's their law. I don't get emotionally invested in clients at all.
You
Not
can't.
1 fucking %.
Right.
Nothing. There's a reason for that because every attorney that I work for, half their clients are fucking right and half of them are pieces of shit because that's how it shakes out and they take whoever comes in the door.
Yep.
All right. Hold on 1 second. All right. That was enough.
Here we go.
We had a freaking little intermission there with us talking about a bunch of shit that we didn't want to record. So.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't want that on the record. His wife and my wife and bosses might not appreciate the candid, even though it was
I don't give
You know
a shit.
what's funny is when you
I like it.
when you reconnect with old friends
There's
so much stuff that you forgot all about comes up, you know?
Oh,
Like you forgot about Left Eye's tit.
I totally forgot about
How'd
that.
you forget about that?
All I remembered was
I have vivid memories of that.
I had vivid memories of the black dude behind the freaking bulletproof glass with a shotgun.
I never saw that, but I remember the story.
I'm going to start singing that song to you
No,
randomly.
he said we're in the wrong neighborhood. Let's go. Get in the car.
Get the fuck
and Carlos is like, just go. And I'm like, which way? Which way did he say to go? He's like, straight, go. I'm like, okay.
What was funny was
he didn't explain to me it was like 9 blocks later. But
what was funny was
the fucker had a gun.
When we were driving, like we drove back the way that we had come.
Yeah.
And I never noticed all the dudes and people hanging out on the sides of the road. Like there was cars.
They're just waiting for your ass to
there
stop.
There was people sitting on the sidewalk with 40s and shit.
Yeah, waiting for you to
and
stop.
I never noticed
Back
any
then,
of that.
I could expect him to be prejudiced against me, and in modern times, I could expect him to be prejudiced against me. But
Me.
they hated us both.
Yeah.
Right? Mexicans and white boys are both not welcome here.
Get the fuck out.
Well, that's another thing is that Missouri, dude, racism is alive and well in Missouri,
Oh, yeah.
and you know it.
I noticed that a lot when I was there. Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah. There's different places in the country. People think it's racist here in Oregon.
Fuck.
It's not even close.
Dude, in Missouri, like, okay, so do you remember, I don't know if you probably not, I don't know if you remember, like, all of the friends I have, Dave and Sean and all that.
I remember a couple of them, yeah.
Okay, well, anyhow, they lived on Florida Street down there, and there was a big bunch of row of them that all lived there. Okay, so like, the corner of Grant and Grand is controlled by black people only. So if you're white and you're walking down Grant and Grand, which
Wrong
is
spot.
I lived on that corner when I first moved there. Keep your mouth shut and your eyes down.
Yeah.
If you're walking to the store at 2 a.m., keep your mouth shut and your eyes down.
Like,
if
what the
you're
fuck
white.
are you doing
Vince,
here?
when
If
we
you're
first
down on Florida Street, if you're black, keep your mouth shut and your eyes down.
Just crazy.
It's segregated like
Totally
parts of the
crazy.
town.
when I first moved there, Vince worked at a convenience store in a black neighborhood.
Dude.
Yeah.
So like he had to
right
be
there.
freaking careful what he
Yeah.
said in his freaking work.
Wow, you're working. No
I remember you brought your
shit.
stolen bike by there.
It got stolen.
The stolen bike got
so me
stolen.
and him. Okay, so me and
No.
him. Wow. that piece of shit car you talked about earlier, that white is a celebrity that I bought off Jody. We went out and we had the idea from our mail runs earlier. We'll get to that in another episode. But so we went out getting, seeing what there was to do in this town. We found a couple of nice bikes.
Just laying in somebody's yard.
We had one car that I owned. I bought. It was one car between us. We shared it. We bought these. We got these bikes. They were just laying out there, on the side of the road with free signs. So we took them.
Yeah, just like everybody would.
So then I'm working at this convenience store, and there was 2 things that happened that day. One was that he rode up to the convenience store to come bullshit with me. He come inside, and while he's inside, some fucking guy
Took the bike.
stole his bike.
Because it was
right?
out there with
He's
a
like,
fucking
dude, that
take me
guy's
sign."
stealing my stolen bike. And by the time we could think about it, I'm like, well, we can't call the cops, And so the guy rode away. And then, so, yeah. And
That was karma, dude.
And the next
Damn.
thing that happened that day was, remember I got fired for stealing the Playboy?
Oh,
You remember that?
I forgot
Shit.
about that.
Yeah. Okay, so it was a convenience store, and the manager, his name
Jenny
was
McCarthy
Chad,
is here.
Chad something. He was a little piece of shit.
He got another job the next day.
Yeah.
At a different convenience store.
Yeah, and like, because that day I had see, I wasn't the one that had the porn ahead or whatever. I brought magazines home. I'm classy.
You didn't have the
Okay,
Betamax
so anyhow,
tapes.
so we took he had all the magazines out there on the rack behind the counter. He had Playboy and stuff, but he kept a store copy of Playboy for his own pleasure,
Well,
whatever.
fuck,
I don't
sure.
know. It's Playboy, sure, for the articles.
For
I'm sure.
reading, yeah.
But
You
anyhow-
definitely didn't want to read that
And
copy.
but I took it home with me. I guess I grabbed it out of the back of the store and took it home. He had this big snit fit, treated it like it was some Spanish Inquisition. And I was like, fuck you. I think basically, I don't know. It came up to a fuck you topic. Yeah, he fired me. I got a job the next day, whatever.
Over
and I'm
a
like,
Playboy.
and what was funny about that was this guy, Chad, he got fired the week after that because the person that owned the store, he wasn't even,
That was his Playboy.
I stole a store copy, and he fired me for having the store copy, which he wasn't even authorized to take from the store. And he got fired.
He got
right
fired
after.
for stealing from the store.
For the magazine and I'm like, if you would have just kept your fucking mouth shut, nobody
we would have both had our
trouble.
fucking jobs still, you
I forgot about
douchebag.
that. That's the dumbest thing I've ever been fired for, was taking a magazine home. My current boss.
2 people got fired for
The
jerking off.
same fucking
My
magazine.
current boss.
Because neither one of them was authorized to jerk off.
If it's less than $5,
Not on company
she doesn't
time,
wanna
you
hear about
fuckers.
it.
Oh, shit, dude. That's funny. Yeah, that is
I don't
one
even
of the
think I jerked off for it.
That's one of the
doubt
worst-
it, but
worst freaking ever.
no, I was
God.
with Nikki then. I guarantee I didn't jerk off because she was a fucking nympho. She jumped his bones just for being there.
Yeah, that was the best story of karma ever, dude.
I make
because
$1.
We were out one night fucking drinking and decided it'd be a good idea to steal some bikes.
My stolen
They're
bike got
like
stolen.
a couple days later, I
My
rode the
stolen
bike to that
bike.
store
Not
and
to
it got
be-
stolen.
Not to be racist, but crime percentages played into that.
Yes, they did.
Oh,
In fact, there might have been a derogatory term used on that day.
On
but
both
that's neither
ends,
here nor
right?
There, you fucking spick.
dude,
Of
you had
both
that.
ends.
You had that giant black dude that used to come in the store and freaking
Man, the guy
shoplift
that
every
walked
day.
across the street you walk across the street like this, strutting it just to
Pimping
make
the-
cars stop. You remember that
He's
guy?
pimping it out.
I don't know what his name
Every
was.
day he'd walk into Vince's store, grab whatever he wanted, and walk out without paying for it. And Vince was pissed.
He's like, "See ya,
Every day
playa."
He's like, "That motherfucker stole shit today." And I was like, "What are you gonna do?" And he's like, "Nothing." He's fucking ginormous.
You know, the first time I saw him, remember I used to work
What
across
the
the street.
fuck?
So there was right here. There was a Pizza Hut.
What'd you call him? Two bro.
That's what.
Two bro.
Yeah,
That's what
well,
you called him.
remember that's where I met Rob. Was at Pizza Hut there? I worked at Pizza Hut, and then after Rob quit or got fired, whatever happened, then I got fired for doing some shit. No, it was I remember what it was.
Playboy.
I walked across the street to get a pack of cigarettes
Playboy.
on shift. Remember, they were right there.
Yeah.
And I walked across the street to get a pack of cigarettes.
You can't
and
do
Chad
that.
was there, the little short fucker. And I was talking about, because I'd see him every day going in there buying smokes or whatever. And I talked about how, this job's fucked up, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, dude, I was like, I hate this job. I want to quit. And he's like, dude, I'd give you a job right now. And I walked across the street, took my shirt off and threw it in fucking Riyadh's face, which I kind of regret. He's a cool guy and I know him later. But anyhow, and then I walked across the street and got that job. And then he ends up firing me over that Playboy shit. And I'm like, dude, whatever.
Don't fuck with a man's Playboy.
Yeah.
What's
But
the-
I remember that fucking big. He
what-
was a big black dude.
What-
He
what was
probably
the-
like
the
300
Friday-
Ving
pounds.
Rhames. Think Ving
the
Rhames?
Friday
Is that
movie.
his name? Ving
Yeah.
Rhames?
Yeah.
He looked just like him, and he'd walk across the street every day.
What was the guy's name on Friday? You got knocked the fuck out.
It was
Yeah.
Tiny Lester.
And he'd stop traffic. He'd stop traffic just because he could.
He's
and the
pimping.
dude is a fucking brick shithouse. Like nobody's gonna stop and give him.
He would
shit.
walk in Vince's convenience store and grab whatever he wanted and then
Thank
just
you.
walk out.
Yeah. And that was after I first noticed him over here, and then
That's
he did it there,
awesome.
and I was like,
What the fuck?
write it on the loss sheet. I don't know. We
They had that was back.
we called the cops one time. They arrested him one time. They come and fucking arrested him like in the parking lot one time for that. I don't know what happened to him, but he was back to it like a week later.
A week
so.
later,
I
yeah.
don't know. But no, I mean, I weighed like 120 pounds at the time. He's like 250 pounds of fucking solid brick muscle, and I'm like, I'm not getting involved
Fuck,
in this.
take it, dude.
I don't. It's not even my shit.
He did not
Whatever.
ride across the street in a little tiny bicycle though. But
No, he
that would
just-
have been even better.
Yeah.
He just
I know.
walked like that real slow fucking
Yeah.
strut walk.
What's up?
you
I
know.
remember Vince would come home though, and he'd be like, "Fucking two bro came in again tonight and fucking stole some more
Two,
shit."
bro.
So, but it caused me paperwork because I got to write it off and make a report about it.
Yeah,
But no, I wasn't going to confront him. That dude was huge.
our little apartment, dude.
He was three of us put together.
we had
and he's
two
a big
guys
guy.
that did not know how to cook in a little apartment by ourselves. We had fucking furniture we bought off of a dude that
Dead
committed
man sale.
suicide.
Allegedly.
Our
Yeah, yeah.
refrigerator was filled with candy bars and condiments
Condiments.
and microwave shit.
It had
Shit
stuff
we-
in it? I never opened it.
You opened
I
the
assumed we
fridge.
didn't have any
Oh,
food.
and Vince was obsessed with fucking potato buds.
Potato buds.
What? Potato buds.
Those fucking
Oh, the instant potatoes?
instant potatoes. They were potato buds.
God.
Oh,
That's fucking awesome.
So we had this giant bag of potato buds.
didn't I? Oh, fucking A.
And I remember one time I
I
bought these fancy fucking steaks. I was like, I'm making steaks tonight. Didn't have any oil
I
or
remember
butter.
that.
Where's my
So I
potato
tried to
buds?
cook steaks in water.
We had to open the fucking place up.
I ended up throwing them away. Oh,
Jesus.
it was horrible, dude.
Dude, I'd forgotten. You know what's funny is that there's some things I'm like, hey, remember this? And you're like, no. And in the reverse.
Yeah.
Like, now that you mentioned the potato bud steak, and I'm like, dude, I totally remember that. And I fucking did not remember.
I remember-
2 minutes ago.
I remember you were
No.
pissed because when you left, when you came home for like 10 days to visit Oregon,
Yeah.
and I was there, and I didn't do any dishes
That's
the
when
whole
you
time.
were nailing slugs. Oh, yeah, it was piled up. Motherfucker,
He's like,
piled
dude,
up.
He's like, dude, we
the
didn't have any
kitchen-
dishes when I left, and I was like,
the kitchen
all right,
was-
I'll take care of it.
The kitchen was it's smaller than. Look, it was
So-
like from fucking here to here. It was even smaller than this
And it was
desk,
just-
let alone
So,
his office.
so I took care of it. I threw everything away,
Yeah.
and I went to the dollar store and bought 4 of
Oh.
everything.
Yeah,
So,
I remember that.
my-
See, I'd forgotten about that. Now I remember it.
A couple of my
They were
buddies.
piled up because he didn't do any. He didn't do any cleaning at all, man. The place was a wreck with him in charge.
A good buddy of mine, Eric Maltor, had David Lyons living with him. That just totally reminded me of the dishes. He's always on his ass about the dishes. And he came home and they were just fucking piled up. I remember Eric threw his fucking work boots on, jumped up on the counter in the sink and just stomped on everything, breaking everything. He goes, all right, now go buy more dishes.
You know, currently, my dishwasher broke. A month
That's
or
fucking
two
awesome.
ago.
Throw that shit away and buy new shit.
I did. I bought a new dishwasher. $450. I had Craig come help me install it last week. Whatever, put it in there. But there was a lot of that. I'm like, to be honest, why do we even? Okay, so our dishes are way backed up. Whatever. I bought a new dishwasher, got it going. Everything's under control now. But I'm like, okay, so there's me and you and the 2 kids. Why do we own 27 plates?
How the fuck do we
Why do we even own them?
Exactly.
I have 300 forks, 200 knives, 100 spoons,
Fucking
fucking
God,
37. Why do I even have this shit?
Dude,
I liked what we did.
So
we
you
had
have
4
Paper
plates, 4
with
cups,
your name
4
on
knives,
it. There's
4 spoons.
Carlos's.
Look, if you want a meal, you
Yeah.
have to clean. You can't let them pile up.
So
because
you
That's
you
right.
can't
deal
eat.
with
That's
you
the
deal
way it
with kids
works.
with disabilities. So you don't have to
Relentlessly.
deal with shit that kids without disabilities do.
Yeah.
So I have to buy new forks
privileged little fuckers.
about twice a year because
Yeah.
the people in my house don't want to do dishes, so they just throw them in the garbage.
Throw them
Wait,
away.
do you want some forks? Because no, wait. I can give you about 200 forks right now, and I'll
Goddamn.
tell you why.
God.
Because there's 3 or 4 employees at DC Law that go to this restaurant and they have salads like every day. Dan has
And they
a salad
They
bring
every day.
steal
it
the
back.
fucking fork.
No, they don't steal them. This place gives. They're cheap, bendable, but they're metal forks. At DC Law right now, there is currently
Oh my
like
God.
400 forks. They're overflowing. We've been throwing them away because they give a metal fork with every salad.
Tell them to
At this
donate that
place-
shit to the fucking homeless shelter.
Yeah, I know, but I was threw several away, and I told Dan about it. And I'm like, so no, if you want forks, I could give you like
So-
200 of them right now.
So no, but at my house, so my kids and shit,
Or the
about twice a year, I have to go buy all new freaking forks and,
and glass.
shit.
You never have
because-
glasses in your
They all disappear,
ever.
and it's because they don't want to wash them, so they just throw them away.
How about this? I can beat you one better with that. Okay, so in my bedroom there on my desk, there's several things that I leave on my desk. Like there's I've got a lamp here in the corner because the lights are low because of the kids. Plus they're LEDs and apparently they don't work anymore. So there's this light here and it has a remote and it can go red beam, green beam, yellow. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calming lights.
Okay. All right, well, how about when your kid comes into your room, raids your desk, and throws away your remote control, your fucking... Right? That's the kind of shit I deal with. And then I'm like, get the one from the bathroom so I can turn the light on to even find the one he threw down here. And dumping out a trash can. There's some snotty rags, some other stuff.
Nice.
I've spit in there. Oh, dig through and find your remote.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Time for a new light. Throw it away.
Yeah, well, it's there's several.
Copy.
You have no idea how much I spend on this. Shouldn't actually happen to anybody, but it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier, dude. You never know what people go through until you spend time talking to them.
Yep.
Everybody's got their trials and tribulations.
I put on a rosy face to everybody I know. There's very few people, like today included, there's very few people that I have a glimpse of what my actual reality is.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I'm very jovial and jokey right now and stuff, but to be honest, the reality
It's
of my
surreal,
life
dude.
is
Yeah.
kind of a depressing affair most of the time.
Oh, yeah,
I
dude.
mean, what am I going to do?
That's
here
why you
and
got to have
there
friends so
and-
you can freaking vent a little
You
bit.
get-
you can let it
yeah.
go.
This has been a great experience. I wasn't
yeah.
even I didn't know what to expect. Like podcast, that's why I sucked down the first drink real quick, and this is my second
Well,
one. So
I hope you've had a good time.
Yeah.
I have had a good
It's
time.
fucking badass.
And to be honest, I can't wait for part 2 because I have just barely scratched the surface
of Carlos stories.
about Carlos. If his listening audience hears
Oh,
this,
Hey,
yes.
listen,
This
I got
podcast-
way
This
more.
podcast isn't about me. It's about the guests.
We're gonna turn that shit around.
I love it.
I'm glad. I hope you had a good time.
Nice.
I hope you had fun, and
It was very nice.
you reminded me of a lot of stories I forgot all about.
That's badass.
Oh,
That's what it's all
vice
worth,
versa.
man. That's
Yeah.
what it's all about.
It's funny because you go through life and things happen, and you remember. You have memories, but there's memories attached to those memories.
Like
that
it
you forgot.
affected me differently than it affected
Of course
him,
it
so
did.
I remembered it.
Yeah.
And there's other things
and
that
then-
affected it differently. That
You
there's
get my
several things
perspective.
that he remembered that I didn't, and several things that I remember that he didn't.
But you get my perspective here, and I'm getting both of it. I'm loving it. I'm
You're
loving
just like,
it.
you fucking people are crazy.
I love it. It's like, oh yeah.
Well, and the other thing is probably we have some memories that you remember them totally differently than I remember.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
But yeah, there are some stuff that
Like I remember that I didn't scratch your car. And
I
you think
didn't do it.
did.
I did not
and
do
I
it.
forgot.
Memories are totally different.
I had forgot all about that.
I'm
and I
innocent.
totally would have put that on my list of shit to talk about
The
because that was
fucking-
funny.
The fucking valve stem did not scratch that.
And
I
the thing
can
was-
guarantee it.
Well, I don't even know if I finished that, but the thing was that because me and Will were out that night and everything, and I had it was a valve stem cover
Sure.
off a car.
That's
off
what
a
I
tire.
convinced them he used.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, because the
You're like,
lines-
yeah, because I steal them all the time,
listen,
fucker.
Because the valve stem, the lines matched up to be the
Sure.
same width,
Of the scratch.
and I said I guarantee that didn't do it because I was.
I
guilty,
know.
and I know it didn't because
Because this is what I
and
watch
it
this
just
fucker.
happened that this piece of thing in my pocket fit the profile, and I'm like, that doesn't mean I did it, even if I did it. That doesn't mean I
That
did it.
doesn't mean shit.
The best part was we went to court, and the whole reason I knew that I
I
could
love
beat him
it.
in court was because I knew
Yep. You
he
get
could
him
not
worked up.
maintain his composure.
Ding, ding, ding.
I knew that I could piss him off enough that he would not.
The whole time he was
maintain.
pissing me off, his ex-girlfriend was still sucking my dick.
Oh, God.
He was
So,
he was losing his
For
mind
me,
because I was pissing him off.
Both of
and
you guys.
it
For
was
me,
funny.
the best part is the fucking beans part of it.
the fucking bean dip. Yeah, I was.
Goddamn.
I forgot all about that.
Listen, and would I do that again? No, because
Yes, you would.
no, I would not now. But the thing was,
It would be salsa.
being
not beans.
racist back then wasn't what it is today.
Yeah.
But
I don't know what to tell you. Does that make sense? to
Oh,
you?
absolutely, dude.
Being racist back then
it's,
wasn't
it's
what it
not
is today.
being racist with his friends.
No, I was totally being racist. Here's some bean dip, you
We
fucking
were in a
beaner. I
full full-on
totally
battle.
being racist. We were saying the most fucked up shit just to piss the other one off.
The funny,
Yeah.
So we dreamed up the most fucked up shit
Yeah.
just to piss the other one off.
Well,
I didn't actually feel that way, and he didn't actually
obviously,
feel that way. But we
bringing
were
food
just,
to Carlos
we were
doesn't
just
piss him off.
We were just making up the most fucking inflammatory statements we
Yeah,
could possibly
I
think
get you.
of.
I get you.
And neither one of it was true. You know,
Oh, no.
his shit about me wasn't true, and my shit about him wasn't true. It was just us trying to piss each other off over some stupid bitch that we both don't care about now.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So-
it was funny, dude. And it was fun.
Yeah.
And the best part was,
I don't know if it was fun.
The
I'm
best
not sure if I'd say that. I missed you. You know, you might have said fuck you, but I actually missed you as a friend, and it did pain me to not be your friend, but at the same time, it's
But
like
you
my
were-
pride in humanity was wounded, so it pains me not being my friend, but I'm going to fight you anyway.
How
It's
many-
stupid as shit, but that's what it was.
How many
the
years
best
ago was
part
that?
for me was that I knew in my heart, dude, I could have been a multi-million-dollar attorney.
Attorney. You fucking. How many years
No,
ago was
probably
that?
not.
How many years?
Probably. Oh, we were 32
You're talking-
years ago. We
Yeah,
were like,
and-
we were like
34
20
years
years
ago.
old.
And look, you
No,
guys
we were
are
like
19, 20 years
you're
old.
Yeah,
still
it's-
fucking friends.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
gotta-
mean, our non-friend period was like 2
Yeah.
years.
It just a
Yeah.
sliver.
Out of 40 years
Just a
of knowing each other,
fraction.
it was 2 years.
Yep.
Yeah, it was
yep.
nothing.
And
But-
over stupid shit
It was
that
funny
never
as
should have.
shit, dude.
To be honest,
That's life,
in that
man.
same situation today, we might have the similar outcome. Fucker, I don't care, but we wouldn't be bent about it. Like,
No.
we would. It's like back then, like he said, like we mean it. Fucker, go ahead, whatever. You didn't fuck her, did you?
That's old
But now
school
today,
shit.
it's like fucker, go ahead. Did you fuck her? Yeah, I don't know. I don't care.
cool.
So that's the only
Me too.
difference there.
Cool. Me too.
Right? I mean,
God
am I
damn
off-
it, I was hoping you did that.
Am I off base on that?
Oh,
I mean,
well.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, that's age, though. You get older
Yeah.
and you learn what matters.
So you need to
and
put
what
on your
Yep.
podcast "Stupid Whores and Old Friends." You should put, no, come on, that's a line leader. People are gonna click on that just to
It's
hear
like,
the result.
fucker, I did.
Stupid whores and old friends. That'll get you twice as many clicks. He agrees.
doesn't. I'll remember that when I'm coming up with the name. for the
Stupid
episode.
whores and old friends.
Yeah.
Twice as many clicks.
I like that word.
Oh, shit.
And that's what it is, too. That's all it is.
Right on.
You guys are awesome.
Well, we've been talking for a long time, so I guess I better fucking wrap it up.
Otherwise, I'm going to have another drink and expose shit nobody wants. Even mostly me, but, you know.
Where are we at?
Huh?
He's going to stop me from
We're
shooting.
almost at 3 hours.
No,
He's
no,
going
no.
to stop me from shooting myself in the foot by.
Yeah.
Because I've already given all the dirt up on him. If I give any dirt up now, it's just going to be on me. So
I'm pretty
You should cut me off to save
transparent on
myself.
my past, so
Yeah.
there's not a lot of dirt to give up. So,
And your wife already heard all those stories from me 10 years ago, and
oh yeah.
maybe she didn't believe it, but
I hope you had fun, dude. I know you said you were a little nervous. I didn't know that, but you
well, that
seemed
was
like
a
you did
reason for
fine.
the drink or two at the start. You know, I couldn't drink because of my
Oh, yeah,
profession.
you were
and then,
still working, yeah.
You know,
It worked out.
if I could have just started cutting loose at lunch, like it maybe.
Oh, you were fine, dude. You had a good
No.
time. I hope you had fun.
The first hour is probably shit, but after that, I loosened up. You're like,
Oh,
you're
Mike
right.
said he
Shit.
had a good time.
Oh, fuck yeah,
Mike-
the whole
Mike
time.
was
I'm like,
said, this is
yes.
great.
When did he say that? Because this motherfucker don't say shit.
I'm
When you were
watching.
peeing
I'm
okay.
watching.
on one of your restroom breaks.
He just wants to watch me roast you. That's what it was.
I just
He's
like
like,
the
I
banter
haven't
back
heard
and
this
forth.
shit about you.
Oh.
Hold on. Hey, give me your phone, man. I'll fucking. I'll tell you. I can tell you way more. There's some shit that we cut out because, you know, it's just uncivilized, but
Uncivilized.
we're talking about banging whores from each other, and what I got's uncivilized, so you can just imagine
I
what
can.
that is. That's a pay-per-view. You're going to have to pay for that. $5 an episode.
Mike, it's always fun when you're on.
Yes, sir.
I think we're going to go drive in the mountains tomorrow.
Let's do it.
Everyone else, thank you for coming and listening.
What do you mean everyone else? There's only one other person here.
No, I mean everyone that's listening.
Oh, your audience.
My audience.
Hi, thanks for listening.
Once again, this episode is represented by Umpqua Survival. So make sure you come down here and give me all your money.
And if you need anything else, call Warner Legal Service for all your process serving and paralegal needs. If you have any kind of legal conflict whatsoever, give me a call. If I can't help you, I'll tell you who can.
There you go.
Awesome.
Perfect little plug for your business.
Got to get that in.
No, that's absolutely
That's
perfect.
beautiful.
So, anyways, I hope you guys had fun. I had fun having a conversation with you guys, having lunch, and maybe we'll do it again sometime. Until next time, everybody, you guys have a wonderful weekend.
Peace out.